It's now time for Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, live on the Woodward Sports Network. Every day, 2 to 4 p.m. Starring Ryan Ermanni, Michigan great and former NFL baller Braylon Edwards, and of course, Tom Mazawey. Let's talk some sports.
Good afternoon. It is Thursday, February 23rd, 2023. We are live on the Woodward Sports Network. This is Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. I am Flannel Sam filling in for the great Ryan Ermanni. To my right is Braylon Edwards.
No. I'm Flannel Bray today.
Oh.
I jacked your swag today, man. You're Flannel Sam. I'm Flannel Blake. I'm Flannel Boy.
And I guess I am Sam Mazawey. According to that amazing thumbnail that our guys in the back, Ryan Lentz and Noah Woolbrecht, those guys are geniuses with that. We have Tom Mazawey, or should I say Braylon Mazawey, according to that.
I never look better.
Yeah, did you follow Ryan Ermanni's custom health plan?
I wish.
That's what it is. And of course, we got JV Smooth in the sound booth and Fletch on the ones and twos in the TD booth. And we are here. We all survived Ice-Mageddon last night. I know a lot of us...
Speak for yourself.
Hey, but you're here. And
I'm here, but my house
here.
isn't very good.
The funny thing is, I'm kind of curious to see what you guys all thought. Driving home, which is something that I think we all worried might be an issue after the show yesterday, it really wasn't that bad for me. I don't think anybody really had any problems. But later on, Tom Mazawey, you actually lost power, didn't you?
I did. 9 o'clock, I'm watching Your Honor on Showtime.
That's your show.
I'm so locked in right now on that show.
Tell us a little bit about the show, man.
Oh, man. It's just Bryan Cranston, who I absolutely love.
Say enough.
He's the man. And he is a judge in New Orleans, a very respected judge in New Orleans. And his son gets involved in a hit and run, actually kills a kid that happens to be the mob boss's son. And I'm just telling you, if you just want to sit at the edge of your seat for an hour, that's the show for you. And I've been locked in. 9 o'clock last night, boom, all the lights go out. Then they flicker once or twice. I get up, I look outside, total darkness. And then I see this blue flash by one of the street lamps. I'm like, well, that'll do it. That'll lock it all down. So I decide, okay, what else am I going to do? I'll just go to bed. So I stumble into bed. I mean, it's pitch dark. Get in bed, and all of a sudden, about 10 minutes in, I'm ready to fall asleep, and my neighbor decides to turn on his... What is he going to turn on, Bray?
Hey, man, you know what time it is. Hey, it's the best $32,000 I've ever spent. It's a generator.
He turns on his portable generator. I don't think it's $32,000 worth. I think it's one of those $1,000 ones from Home Depot.
Okay.
And he just turns it on, and I literally slept next to a Mack truck for the rest of the night because that's what it sounded like.
Did it sound like Uncle Eddie and Christmas Family Vacation?
It did. So my two stinking neighbors have, and I love them, but they have the generators, and they are loud as hell, and it's right by my bedroom window.
So yesterday, Sam, to kind of talk about what you said, for me, to your point, the drive in yesterday was worse. Like when I drove in yesterday, I'm on the road probably around like 12:45. Like the drive in was worse. It's icy. It was slippery coming into work. The drive home, to your point, it's kind of like Woodward is now. Like the slush was gone. It's drivable. It was a lot better. But it did come late at night. You know, that snow started coming. You start seeing the cable and everything with the cable get knocked out, things of that nature. Then the power goes out, but it came right back on because I do have a generator, man. It's one of those things where I would urge everyone to get a generator in this day and age. The only reason I say that, I live on the hospital grid. So living on the hospital grid, your power doesn't go out because the hospital can't afford to go out. But recently, in the last 3 years, like I've been sitting in front of the TV where if you have a generator, that quick switch and it automatically comes back on. I've seen that 4 times, and I hadn't seen it near that much the previous 4 years to that. It's starting to happen a lot where you're going to need a generator. It's worth it, even if it's like you said, one of the ones that you're.
How do you dumb question? How do you hook up a generator? What do you hook it up to?
Listen, man.
I know you put it's gas run, right?
I bought it. I let them hook it up.
Okay. I have no idea what the hell.
I let them hook it up. So all I know is whenever the power goes out, if it happens to be that way, it automatically comes right back on.
Yeah, no, I mean, Maz, I'm
freezing still.
I feel
I'm
for
cold.
you, man, because I couldn't imagine having my power go out. Although it happens from time to time, I'm usually a very miserable person when it happens. So my thoughts and
Listen,
prayers out
man,
to you,
I
Maz.
am not Amish. I am not a pilgrim. I'm weak. I'm weak.
About to get
I
canceled,
cannot live like they can. I need.
You got some good books, man.
I need the comforts.
I'm sure somewhere you have a box full of Sports Illustrated from the 80s and 90s.
How am I reading? It's dark.
You got candles, man. Candlelight. You got candlelight. You can always go to the store and get some matches and candles, all I'm saying.
I'm weak, man. I need my power.
I understand. JB, didn't you lose power briefly, but it came back on? We talked before the show, but describe your experience.
Yeah, so as you said, my power flickered kind of on and off. It went off for a second, but then popped back on again. So luckily, I was one of the lucky ones to have power, but as you guys were saying, I did see that flash of blue light out there in the sky. I was like, I don't know what that is, but I'm not about to go out there. Some aliens might come down.
That's what I heard. I mean, I know.
Did you heard it was aliens?
I mean, I didn't hear it was aliens, but I saw the sky. I think it was in Macomb County.
Yeah.
That's what I saw. I live in Oakland. I'm on the west side.
Yeah, same.
Fletch, did you have any problems last night with power or whatnot?
No issues. I mean, if it did go out, I was already asleep. But my dad keeps the house like freezing cold already, so I'm kind of just used to it. No issues for me.
What's freezing cold? 68?
66
Okay,
actually.
that's a little chilly.
Yeah.
That is a little chilly.
Not bad, though.
Let's hope for all of us, especially Maz, who still has no power, and for me, who has no internet, because I suffered too, but I still have power. Let's just hope that by tonight, we can all watch the Red Wings, Pistons, and Michigan basketball.
Yes.
Big night. And I don't know what you're going to do, Maz, if you can.
I'll be at the bowling alley.
You're at the
at least.
bowling alley.
Yeah.
There you go. We got ESPN on those. Or
I
whatever
drove by the bowling alley today to make sure they have the power, and they do.
But you might want to buy an inflatable mattress so you can stay the night at the bowling
I
alley.
might.
That might not be a bad idea.
I'll sleep all the lanes.
Bowling all you want to, watching some TV.
There you go.
Yes. And something I want to touch on briefly because it's in the forefront of the news right now. It's trending. So Alabama basketball, they played a pretty big game last night, and they are led, of course, by their probably the best player in college basketball, Brandon Miller, who got into a little bit of a hot water. As many of you guys know, his teammate, Darius Miles, he was accused of a murder and kicked off the team. It's all allegedly, of course, but that's obviously a very tragic situation, and we all feel for the victim, and it was just really, really hard to hear. But what we didn't know at the time is that one Brandon Miller, whether it was criminal or not, I don't know all of the details, he may or may not have brought the gun, which was legally owned by Darius Miles, by the way, just to point that out, to the scene. And Brandon Miller wasn't charged with any crime. The coach, Nate Oates, didn't kick him off the team. And Brandon Miller responds while lock him up chants were yelled by the South Carolina basketball team by the student section, responded by scoring 41 points in a big win at South Carolina. Probably the best game he's had in college. And if nothing else happens, if he doesn't get in any trouble, he's going to be a top 3 pick in the NBA, and he is the best player in college basketball. So, Braylon, I know you wanted to give your thoughts on this. It's a crazy situation. It's all allegedly, by the way, but what say you about him being allowed to play?
As I understand the details, Maz and Flannel Sam, the gun was owned by Darius Miller, excuse me. It was owned by him. He gave the gun to his former teammates. His teammates potentially committed a crime. I just think like this. You're talking about a murder. You're talking about someone that lost their life. You're talking about him not being named a suspect, but the gun that he owned being potentially used in this murder. I think as you're Alabama, if you're the athletic director, if you're the president of the school, if you're the coach of Alabama, you have to put him on probation. And trust me, I went to school and I hate probation before you find out what's going on. But the fact that this is something so serious, we're not talking about him driving with a suspended license. We're not talking about him leaving his license at home, or we're not talking about him running a light, or we're not talking about, maybe a fight. Like, we're not talking about something that has the characteristics to be described as a misdemeanor. We're talking about felony. We're talking about capital punishment. And we're talking about not capital punishment, excuse me. We're talking about capital murder. Like, I just don't, if you're Alabama and this is going on with the student, it's just not a good look to the institution to have said player playing in the game. Now, like I said, they didn't say this was anything having to do with him. He didn't fire the trigger. He didn't pull the trigger, but he was around. He may have given the gun. He may have known why he was given the gun. And if he knows why he's given the gun, well, that's an accomplice. That's what that is. So I just think they dropped the ball in terms of having him play in the game before he was fully cleared. Once again, we're not talking about your average. He stole something from the computer lab. We're not talking about, he stole something. We're talking about a potential life being taken and him potentially knowing more than they know right now. So I don't think it was right he played the game. He played a phenomenal game. He did himself some justice. I mean, the NBA scouts can see how good he is. It was on full display. But as Alabama, you have to sit him until you find out more. Maz, would you agree?
I don't know. I don't know about this one. I do know what the NBA people are saying about him, and like you said, he's going to be a top 3 guy, top 5 at worst, drafted. One NBA executive says no impact at all on the NBA draft.
Right.
An NBA scout says love Brandon. If he's not in any legal trouble, there's a lot of teams that would love to have him. An NBA agent, all the intel I've ever heard on Brandon is really top notch. Those were NBA guys, what they're saying. Nate Oates, hell, they wanted to fire him the other day, the head coach at Alabama. You know what? You make a decision. And I'm not going to compare. Well, I guess I'm going to compare it. Jim Harbaugh let Mazi Smith play. And I know Mazi Smith's gun wasn't used in a murder. All right? I'm going to use that first. But until, like Sam said, it's all alleged, right? Until it's completely done and you know everything about the situation, I'm going to talk as a sports fan. You're going to let your guy play at this point in the year. That's the way I'm looking at it. If I'm a sports guy, if I am a coach,
right, I'm
letting my guy play until they tell me he cannot play.
If we're looking at it that way, then society has failed us. Like 100.
We're failed. We're already failed.
We are, but we continue to go backwards. And the only reason I say that, Mazi Smith was a situation where you want to know what the situation was. There were some holes in the situation. The officer didn't even have Mazi Smith clocked. Didn't even clock him, but he told him he was pulling him over because he was driving too fast. Mazi Smith had his registration, just not on him. He had it on his phone. There's some things with that. It's proper procedural things that the officer struggled on that. You're talking about an incident where we know the gun was used in the murder. Like, you know this gun was used in the murder. So that's why I'm saying, like, he didn't pull the trigger. And, and everything is good about him. Yeah, they're going to say that because they want to draft this kid high. Like, this kid is going to turn somebody's franchise around. But right now, just kind of thinking, I'm like, this gun owned by him, which he gave out, was used in the murder. Yeah. You got to make the decision he can't play into the. That's a little deep.
Hey, a guy I respect the hell out of is Dick Vitale. Dickie V said, even he said, the kid probably should have sat out. He should be suspended until all the facts are out there. So,
yeah,
I really don't have,
it's a tough one because it's a tough one. And bringing it back to you, Sam, it's a tough one because you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Yeah. If you do a situation where you go through all the facts and all that, you find out it's not even like he gave the guy the gun. The guy took the gun from him. The guy goes out there, he had no knowledge of that, so he's really not a part of it at all. Then you've basically wasted. This man's collegiate, you've wasted 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. They're not going to figure this out anytime soon. So if he hasn't done anything and you wasted all that time, shame on you. But once again, if you don't sit him out, and then he is a part of it more than we think, now you're like, damn, I should have. Damned if you do, Maz. Damned if you don't.
They won. They won, so guess what? It ain't gonna matter.
Yeah, it's good now. He can sit all the games he wants to now.
They won.
It's like Jamal Crawford. Like, all he needed was that Duke game.
They won.
Played the Duke game, set out the rest of the year, enter the draft, and got drafted 8th overall.
Yeah, damned if you do, damned if you don't. I think that was very, very well said. Obviously a very tragic situation, and we'll wait to see when more facts come out, because we are all not detectives and we're not Tuscaloosa
No Nancy
police.
Drews over here.
No Nancy Drews. So the bottom line is we don't know everything. But yeah, we've got a jam-packed show. Every single person in this room did the PFF mock draft simulator. We might get to them all today. We might not, but I want you guys in the Woodward Sports chat to react.
Can I do another one?
I'm kind of saying the same
They're
thing
addicting.
at this point.
They are.
Yes.
They are.
But coming up next, what I want to start with is a star wide receiver. There was a PFF sort of mock trade that with the Lions trading draft picks for said star wide receiver. And I want to get all of your guys' reactions on that because I think there are positives and negatives sort of that could affect the short term and long term. I think you guys are all going to enjoy this. But first, I have to tell you where I get my haircut, and that is Lady Jane's. Like I said the last couple days, for all of you making fun of my hair, it's all right. I know I look good. The wife likes it. And you also can come to Lady Jane's for an award-winning experience and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win a down payment for your dream home up to $200,000. Lady Jane's open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jason Olafson, DC, the founder of the Custom Health Centers, and we've helped thousands of people learn how easy it is to lose weight and keep it off with our customized weight loss and body contouring programs.
With Custom Health, you don't feel hungry, you eat well. My name is Simeon Timbuk, and I've lost 71 pounds on the program.
Call us at 844-789-THIN or visit CustomHealthCenters.com for a free consultation and get started for as little as $5 a day.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991? Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Welcome back to Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. I am Flannel Sam filling in for Ryan Ermanni. To my right is Braylon Edwards. Flannel Bray. I love that thumbnail, by the way. It's so awesome. Great job, you guys in the back. Again, I got to say it, Tom Mazawey in the Maz chair, and of course, JB Smooth in the sound booth, and Fletch on the 1s and 2s. So Pro Football Focus put out a pretty crazy trade idea that could, for one, T. Higgins, it's a hypothetical trade in which the Lions would give up a first round and I believe a 2024 fourth round pick. Yes, I think I'm reading that right. For T. Higgins. And before I get your guys' thoughts on that, T. Higgins is under contract next year, but you'd assume that if you trade for him, you're going to want to give him a long-term deal. Or if you're a Super Bowl contender and you think that T. Higgins puts you over the top, you might just want to rent him for a year. I think there are positives and negatives to this for the Detroit Lions. It all kind of depends on where you see the Lions are, like what exit on the highway, whether a T. Higgins can help you win a Super Bowl or whether you want to keep them picks and let Brad Holmes cook. Braylon, I'm going to start with you because you are the expert on the room in wide receivers. I know you like T. Higgins as a player. Braylon, should the Lions at least consider making this trade?
No. Giving up a first rounder and a fourth rounder for T. Higgins. Let me ask you this question. That fourth rounder is in 2024?
Yeah.
And the first rounder is when? It's one of these? It's
yes.
The 18th pick?
Yeah.
Essentially?
Yeah.
No, I'm not giving up that for T. Higgins. Look, T. Higgins is a damn good wide receiver, and he was good before Jamar Chase got there. When it was Tyler Boyd and himself, he still had upwards of 900 yards. He had 6 touchdowns. So we know that he can be a factor without Jamar Chase. But with Jamar Chase, it makes it that easier to look like wide receiver one. T. Higgins is a big body. T. Higgins runs good routes. He keeps himself between the defender and the ball. He's allowed to make a lot of catches. He's a dog too. Like, he has an attitude. But if you're gonna tell me, if you're gonna give me pushback about bringing in Jalen Ramsey with a pick 1, but now you're gonna give away a pick 1 and 4 for T. Higgins, you guys aren't trying to win football games. You guys aren't trying to go where I think you can go. T. Higgins is a damn good wide receiver. But a 1 and a 4, if I'm giving up a 1 and a 4, you got to come in like Odell Beckham in year 3. Like, if I'm giving up a 1 and a 4, you got to come in like D-Hop 3 years ago. 1 and a 4 is a lot to be commanding.
Yeah, to be fair, it just kind of depends on what you think of the Lions' chances to make a deep run this year, maybe even get to and win the Super Bowl. Because T. Higgins, to me, and I know it's a lot to give up, he would make this offense better. It would give them that
better.
Like
a 1 and a 4. 1 and a 4, you can't be coming in and making my team better. 1 and a 4, you got to be coming in and make my team freaking great. A 1 and a 4.
I think he'd be a pretty good compliment to Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams. It's T. Higgins. He's had 2,000-yard seasons. He's obviously in last year's Super Bowl, caught 2 touchdowns, 100 yards, played a big game, caught Joe Burrow's only touchdown pass in this year's AFC Championship game.
Off, but continue.
And the Jalen Ramsey one, and it was a little dicey, but he still made the play. But Brad Holmes, the one thing about him is we've seen that in his first round picks, especially his top 10 picks, he's hit. In a 4th round pick, he once hit on Amon-Ra St. Brown, who he's now paying basically nothing to and has already turned into a star. So when it comes to Brad Holmes, do you want to handcuff yourself at least for a couple of picks? T. Higgins, he would obviously make the Lions offense dynamic. It's already it was elite last year basically without Jamison Williams, and if you add Jamison Williams and T. Higgins for a year where he's still relatively cheap, I don't necessarily hate it. Tom Mazawey, what say you? Are you considering trading for T. Higgins?
I wouldn't give up my 1. I might give up my 2nd round pick for him and a 4th round pick. He's 24. He's a stud. You put him on one side, Jamison on the other side, and Amon-Ra in the middle. Come on. That would be super fantastic. But with my 2nd first-round pick, if Smith and Jigba or Jordan Addison are there, I can get him on a cheap deal. It's basically no way. There's a lot of great receivers in this draft. If I really want one, I can get one with my 2nd first-round pick. You might even get one in the 3rd round if one slips that far. But no way. I'm not trading this number 1. This is the Super Bowl maker. These 2 first-round picks and the 2nd and the 3rd round pick, this is making and completing your team. And then he goes shopping for free agents. And guess what?
Yeah.
You're an NFC powerhouse.
I will think about it outside of I will take a step back and think about it for a second from Sam's point of view and think about, all right, cool, this guy right now, he comes in, he's instantly going to change your team, help your team a lot. A lot of those 3rd down conversions, he'll be able to make a lot of those red zone situations. He'll be able to make a lot easier because he gives you a taller guy that also can run routes. So the designs can look different. You don't have to rely on running the ball and then Zylstra and tight ends and Brock Wright. So I like that. But when we look at receivers that are going to change the course of a franchise, we think of the Tyreeks. We think about what they got for Tyreek down there in Miami, what they had to give up. We think about Stephon Diggs going from Minnesota to Buffalo. We think about Devontae Adams and what he garnered to go to. And I'm like, T. Higgins doesn't fit into that realm. But then again, you didn't say 2 first. You said 1 first and a 4th. So now I have to grade the scale again and like, how does that look? I just don't know how that looks. I think that's the big thing for me. I don't think he garners a 1 and a 4. But with the market being different, guys are starting to command 2 first-round picks. So if you're saying T. Higgins for a 1st and a 4th, if done right, maybe it does work. Maybe I can see that situation. But I myself, I wouldn't greenlight it.
And for the record, I probably wouldn't make that trade if I was Brad Holmes because your 2 first-round picks, you're expecting, at least I think all of us would expect the Lions to at least get 1 defensive starter for this year. Whether you want to work on your offense as well or potentially get 2 in the first round, that's up to you guys. And Maz, you mentioned something interesting. Imagine if at the number 18 pick, a guy like Quentin Johnston is available, and you would have the opportunity to draft him. He's a guy that I think is, without a doubt, the best wide receiver prospect in this draft. He's a physical freak. We obviously see how he dominated Michigan.
Hey.
You like him more than Smith and Jigba?
I do. I do. I mean,
and Addison?
I'm not as big on Addison as some, but Quentin Johnston, to me, when you look at him, he looks like a diet Megatron. He's not as good. I'm not saying that he's Calvin Johnson. I'm just saying he's the best wide receiver prospect in this draft.
He's better than Jackson Smith and Jigba to you. I mean, I guess Jackson did miss a year. You see, I didn't bring Addison up because I get it. Addison's a good route runner. He's a good route runner. He was good in college.
The other guy from USC did well for us.
Yeah, there you go. Amon-Ra St. Brown. But I don't know, like saying Quentin Johnston's better. Like I saw the big run. I was in person.
Yeah.
I saw the 74-yard touchdown that really, really destroyed the game. But I don't know, like Jackson Smith and Jigba, like I saw something different out of him, man. Like he was just special on a whole nother level. And I'm not talking about a 3-touchdown game, 360 out, and at the Rose Bowl. I mean, that was special. But I just see something different out of him than Quentin Johnston. I don't know. I could be wrong now.
Jackson Smith and Jigba, to his credit, and I get why you guys like him a lot. This past season in 2021, he was the leading receiver on a team that had Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, who went on to have 1,000-yard seasons in their rookie year. So Jackson Smith and Jigba, it wouldn't bother me at all if the Lions were to get him. But I think I've come around to the whole not make this T. Higgins trade. It's risky at this point.
It's interesting, though.
It's very interesting, and it seems a little bit off-brand for Brad Holmes. It would be, we expect that even if they stay pat, they don't make any trades, at least going into the draft, that Brad Holmes can get the Detroit Lions some good players. Obviously, some starters on defense in the first round, maybe solidify that offense, and along with the continued development of guys like Penei Sewell, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Aiden Hutchinson, this team can be good without a major trade. And we haven't even factored in free agency.
Yeah.
And like I said before, with all of the cuts that the Lions can easily make, they can have about $40 million in cap space for free agency. So, and also with T. Higgins, he's going to be cheap this year, but he ain't going to be cheap when he's an undrafted free agent, and I say ain't for effect, because he's going to want to, he might command a long-term deal worth $20 million per year,
if not more.
If not more,
where the market is trending. My big thing is this: if you're looking at a guy, if you're looking to give up a first and a fourth, I got to look at touchdown production. 1,000 yards doesn't get me excited when I'm talking a first or fourth. 100 catches does not get me excited when I'm talking first or fourth. The only category that matters when I'm talking a first-round draft pick and a fourth, you got to score a touchdown. And T. Higgins is floating around 6 touchdowns a year. Right. He's 6'6" and 7, I think, or he's 6'6" and 7.
Sounds about
That's
right.
not enough for me to get, and I know this isn't going against you, this is just a trade in general. 6'6" and 7, that's not enough to give up me 1 and 4. If you're talking about 9, 13, and 13, I could think about that. Because, I mean, I can think about that. You're talking about, 45 touchdowns in 3 seasons? That's something to think about.
How about a second rounder instead?
For T. Higgins, second rounder in the fourth? Like a second and a fourth?
Yeah. This year's second, and 2024.
That's something to think about. I don't think it'll happen, but that's definitely something to think about. I'm cool with that.
Well, let's face it, Brad Holmes doesn't pull any trades so far, right? He's pulled what? 1 trade? Who did we trade for from Denver or Cleveland?
No.
It was a wide receiver.
Oh, Trayvon.
Trinity Benson.
Kadarius Hodge, wasn't it?
Okay, was it Kadarius Hodge or Trinity Benson? But
it was Benson. It was Benson.
And obviously the Trinity Benson, that was a low-risk move that did not work out at all. But to Trinity Benson's credit, he sacrificed himself because he drew that illegal hands to the face that negated a Jared Goff game-losing interception at Chicago. So good job, Trinity Benson.
Gave himself up. I like that.
He sacrificed himself, and it was wonderful. But yeah, honestly, you mentioned if there was a second, this year's second and next year's fourth, I would make that trade for T. Higgins without a doubt, because 6 and 18, that's gold. That is gold. You can get a starter on offense. You can get a starter on defense. You can get guys who are Pro Bowlers by their second or third year. I mean, look at what happened with a Penei Sewell or an Aiden Hutchinson. They were basically from day one. You could tell those were it. Penei Sewell was a Pro Bowl alternate this past year, and Aiden Hutchinson led all rookies in sacks. So Brad Holmes, as Neil Rule likes to say, let Brad Holmes cook. But I'm not poo-pooing the T. Higgins thing. I know a lot of people look at that and say, "Oh, hell no." I just wanted to give the why it could work.
Well, 2 things. One, it's once again, it's good we're having these conversations, because I mean these things are possible. That's these are moves that are possible. These are moves that can lead to us getting to the NFC Championship, possibly the Super Bowl. Man, look, I'm gonna sweeten the pot for you. We do a second next year. Fourth, second this year, fourth next year. We throw in some season tickets to the Tigers and the Pistons, because they're going to be back this year. And then anytime they want to go to Captain Jay's, it's on you, boy.
Can we at least agree that we'd be more for the team?
Captain Jay's.
Hey, great chicken shrimp. But can we at least agree that if the Lions had come off a division title and maybe hosted a playoff game, maybe won a playoff game, and we were at a different stage, that T. Higgins could actually be more plausible if we actually thought for sure we're going all in to win a Super Bowl? The Lions are not quite there yet, but I think we all agree they're way ahead of schedule in the rebuild, and some might even say that the Super Bowl and NFC Championship is not outside the realm of possibility, but one of the ways they've gotten there is Brad Holmes' outstanding drafting. Man,
you get there, people can see it. Like right now, people, until you do something, especially like when you've been traditionally bad forever and everyone knows you by that, until you actually do it or you accomplish what you haven't done, the outside world is never going to look at the Detroit Lions as arriving until the Detroit Lions win that first playoff game. And then you can see that in black and white in Jacksonville or L.A. or somewhere in the mountains in Wyoming. well, look at here. The Detroit Lions have won a game. Then that's when I think everybody else takes it serious, and then these deals become plausible. And then these free agents, now they want to sign faster. They're not trying to wait to April. They're trying to sign with the Lions right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that people, and I don't blame them, forget that the Lions, although they had a great year, at least relative to the expectations they had, did not actually make the playoffs. They need to get there first. And it's unfortunate. Hey,
they made playoffs.
Come on,
hey, don't be that guy, man.
They won their first playoff game.
Listen, we're BNL, not SOL.
As we were literally doing a show in which we saw the Seahawks beat the Rams. Oh, it was great, but it was such a disappointing ending. But it was a great show. It was just great. It's great to be nervous about football games in which the Lions that are on the line for the Lions to make the playoffs. But coming up next, I want to get to one of the Pro Football Focus's mock drafts. Tom Mazawey, do you mind if we start with yours?
I would be honored.
The draft simulator.
I'd be honored. Let's start with Braylon's very first one.
Hey, look, knock it off. I didn't know what I was doing, okay? You told me just pick people to get it over
I know, I'm just joking.
I'm not even going to lie. You obviously you have to kind of get used to the process.
Yeah, I was trying to see what was going on.
I'll be honest, I did one before I did the one that I eventually turned in, and I was not happy with it. So you're allowed a mulligan. So
I don't know which one you're talking about. I only did one. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I did one.
Exactly. But we're going to get to Tom Mazawey's first, and I can't wait to get your guys' reactions and everybody's reaction in the room. But first, Tom Mazawey, because we're not going to be tanning outside with this crappy weather. Tell them where you can get your tan on.
Florida. No, I'm only kidding. In Michigan, you don't want to get your suntan right now. You're not going to see the sun for who the heck knows the next time. But you can get the Chili Peppers tanning. That's right. 27 locations across Metro Detroit. More on the way, too, right here on Woodward Avenue. How about it? And if you join the Pepper Club, they're going to save you $5 against any competitors. Price for unlimited tanning. Plus, you get the cleanest salons in the D. The hottest bulbs, the hottest deals, the darkest tans, only at chilipepperstanning.com.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
Centron World is an aspirational lifestyle beverage brand with a line of sparkling flavored energy beverages and premium bottled water. Simply put, Centron is functional, it's fashionable, and it's fun. That's why we over here at WoodwardSports.com, that's why we drink it. Drink it, live it with Centron.
And welcome back to Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. I am Flannel Sam filling in for Ryan Ermanni. This is Braylon Edwards. We, of course, have
Flannel Bray, man.
It's going to take me a long time to get used to it. And we have
the Flannel Twins.
Braylon Mazawey, apparently, according to the thumbnail. If you guys haven't seen that thumbnail, it is electric. And JB Smooth on the ones and twos, and Fletch in the technical director booth. So Pro Football Focus has this really cool feature where you can go on their website and do a mock draft simulator, and every single person in this room, even Fletch and JB, did their own and submitted it. And it's very, very easy. You can play Brad Holmes. Can you make a draft that Brad Holmes would be proud of? Well, our very own Tom Mazawey, he tried. I think you did rounds 1 and 2 only.
No, I think third round, too.
Well, according to this one,
round
it's
2,
only
you're right. Round 2.
First and second round. And with the 6th overall pick, Tom Mazawey selects Bryce Young. And then at 18, goes with Jackson Smith-Njigba. Round 2 at 48, goes with Syracuse corner Garrett Williams. And at round 2 and 55, goes with Alabama running back Jahmyr Gibbs. So I'm guessing that you want to address defense and free agency, or you just say F that defense. But you know what? Tom Mazawey, I'm going to let you explain your thought process.
Hey, first of all, I got really lucky that the 5 teams ahead of me were dumb enough to let Bryce Young get to me. Now, I've done a couple of these drafts.
That sounds like you did about 8 of these, man.
Yeah, I did 3 of them. I did
to
3 of
give
them.
Bryce a 6, you
I'll
did
tell you
more
what
than
I
3 of
did.
them.
The first one I did, I took Anthony Richardson. All right, and because Bryce Young was there,
Kool-Aid,
C.J. Stroud was gone.
Yeah.
I had my choice of Richardson or Kentucky's
Will Levis.
Will Levis. So I took
Levi's.
Richardson, and they gave me like a C- for that pick.
I wonder why.
Not that I cared. In my next one I had Bryce Young slip to me, and the third one I actually had C.J. Stroud slip to me. I'm taking a quarterback. I'm taking my quarterback with the first pick, unless Will Anderson or Jalen Carter are there. If those 2 guys are not there,
Tyree Wilson.
I am taking a quarterback. That's my first thing, Sam. I'm sorry.
No.
That's the way I'm looking at this. How many times are they going to pick in the top 6 again? Hopefully not for a long time, because I'm looking for the Lions to go the route of the Pittsburgh Steelers of their heyday, the Detroit Red Wings of their heyday, when they never had a top 10 pick and won championships. That's what I want. I want to get my future superstar quarterback. That's why I'm taking a quarterback. And if I have to roll the dice with Anthony Richardson, if he's the only guy left there, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, the Red Wings and the Steelers, that's probably a hard foundation to build off of, considering they won 4 Super Bowls
Yes.
back to back to back to back. It's like,
I'm just saying,
pretty easy to build on that when you got 4 Super Bowls or 4 Stanley Cups. It's interesting. It's interesting because I'm not judging it based on the needs, because the way it plays out is you got to kind of take what's there. And for Maz, he went with Bryce Young. If he slips to 6, they would be crazy not to draft him. Jackson Smith and Jibba at 18. I mean, you don't need DJ Chark.
No.
You got Jackson Smith and Jibba on the other side. Exactly. Jamison Williams. You got, they actually know he does. And Garrett Williams a damn good.
I got you somebody for your defensive
and then
backfield.
You got Jahmyr Gibbs. Hey man, that's.
And I got you a guy in Gibbs who I think is going to be a pretty good running back. Now I probably could have waited, took another defender or that kid from Minnesota who I'm starting to like.
Ibrahim.
Yeah,
Muhammad Ibrahim.
I like him, but I'm talking about the center from Minnesota.
Oh, the center.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know we have a center.
Yeah.
All right, but he's always hurt. Plus, you can move some people around. You do need, another offensive lineman sooner or later. There's never too many to have that many. So I don't know. I'm leading with offense, just like Ryan was. I'm going to improve my offense.
You guys,
and I'm shopping defense on the free agents.
Okay, I just got one. You went with Ryan last year for the draft.
I understand. I like Malik Willis.
And people still talk about you.
I know.
So you might want to go a different route.
Malik Willis.
You might want to go a different route this year.
No, I'm sticking with what I like.
Okay, all right.
Malik Willis. That's
all right.
Funny. Fletch, can you put up a poll and just ask the Woodward Sports Chat audience if they like Tom Mazawey's PFF draft simulator? And to be honest, Maz, if Bryce Young falls to the Lions at number 6, I would take him if Jalen Carter and Will Anderson aren't also there, which I assume if Bryce Young is there that they would not be. Because Bryce Young, to me, is the best quarterback prospect in this draft. He was highly productive in college. He won a Heisman Trophy.
He's a winner.
79 touchdowns, 12 interceptions in 2 seasons. He's got a good enough arm. He's accurate. He plays the quarterback position like a point guard, just knows how to get the ball to his playmakers. And the Lions, they have quite a few already and he reunite with his old teammate in Jamison Williams, who had a Biletnikoff-level season with Bryce Young as his quarterback.
I heard that award.
Hey, you did. And you know what? Jordan Addison stole one from Jamison Williams, by the way, but we're not here to talk about that. If Bryce Young were 6'2", 6'3", maybe 215, 20 pounds, I think we'd be talking about him the same way we talk about a Trevor Lawrence, who was considered generational, and Andrew Luck. Maybe not quite Andrew Luck because he was an alien, but someone like that who was can't miss as the number 1 overall pick. To me, Maz, the only thing that no defensive players in the first round, that's a little bit... Because as much as the Lions' defense improved at the end of the year, in the totality of the season, they were still bottom 5. And this is the draft that I would try to solidify my defense. I'm assuming you'd want to...
I already told you, I got 5 defensive rookies already that I like. Why am I going to get more rookies to put out there when I got a great shopping list of free agents that are out there and ready for me, including 2 right there on the Philadelphia Eagles board?
Yeah.
What am I doing? I already know what's out there. I already know what I have. I like what I have. I'm just going to add to it with some true pros.
I mean, the Lions do have the flexibility to maybe add a couple of defensive players in free agency that can help. Jackson Smith-Njigba, I like him as a player. I probably wouldn't take him at 18. Garrett Williams is a corner to help out the secondary, although if you only get Garrett Williams in the draft, I'd still expect to maybe address that position in free agency as well. Jahmyr Gibbs, I like him a lot as a player, but
Look, they only gave it a B-, the Gibbs pick. They like the Garrett Williams pick.
They do.
Well, they like it based on the needs.
Right, or at that point of taking it.
Man, because you guys see, like, based on the needs, like, I saw that. As soon as I saw what the needs were, I knew, like, as you draft, the needs, because you got an A-. Pop mine up there, man. Let's see what we got going on. Fletch.
Oh,
bam!
Hey.
Bam! That's how you do it right there. That's how you do it right there. So the interesting thing about this, C.J. Stroud fell to me. I think I did my second mock. C.J. fell here. He fell to me there at the first one as well. None of the big D linemen or defenders fell down to 6. Like, none of those guys. Just how you say Bryce Young fell to you on your third or fourth one you did. I never saw Jalen Carter. I didn't see Will Anderson. Those guys are going. Those guys are going no less than 2-3 when it's all said and done. But I just, I looked at the draft for what it was. This is a fun thing to do. Shout out to PFF. Quarterback. C.J. Stroud falls to 6. I think you gotta have to get a quarterback. You're gonna need one at some point. Why not get a guy that is getting better and better, is rising up the chart, especially after that Georgia game. He's proven that he can find playmakers in tight spots as well. So get your quarterback. Then 18th pick. You get a guy in Brian Brees out of Clemson, man, interior defensive line. Can move out on the outside a little bit, but plays very well in there. He can stop the run as well as sit back in coverage as well. It's a great attribute for a big man. So got to get him, had this tremendous season with Clemson. That's the reason why they were sitting at 11-1 sitting at 11-1 at one point. Emmanuel Forbes, nice DB out of Mississippi State. Nice DB out of Mississippi State. Could have slipped into the first round, but didn't have such a good year last year, I want to say, and dropped the status. But be a nice DB right there for you, Sam. Guy that can get in and out of this big break, plays man-to-man, bump and run. He's not a stranger to it. It's in South Carolina and the SEC. It's all they do. So he knows how to play at the line of scrimmage. And then Jahmyr Gibbs. It's another guy you talked about. Running back, catch the ball out of the backfield. Some people call him kind of like the Carmera of the draft. I think it's more Tajay Spears, but you're talking about a guy run in between tackles. We're talking about replacing guys. So about finding that running back in the 4th and 5th round. Not trying to get a Bijan Robinson in round 1, whose stock is dropping a little bit. For my first one, I don't think it's too bad there, Sam.
I'll tell you what. I like this draft, but you know what? I want to give all of us an ample opportunity to respond to it. So we're going to go to break now. Coming up next, I want everyone in this room to give their thoughts, and all of you in the Woodward Sports chat
what they made me pick, though,
to give your thoughts on Braylon Edwards' PFF simulator mock draft. And Fletch, at some point, I'm going to want you to put up that poll, and I will give you the results of the Maz poll as well. But first, I have to tell you about Guardian Alarm. It's a new year. Let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. 24/7 professional monitoring. Call us anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone as long as needed. Technology backed by people. Your safety and security deserve technology that's been proven to work and people who have been proven to care. Call them at 1-800-STAY-OUT. Again, that is 1-800-STAY-OUT. Guardian Alarm.
The Sports Marketing Agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zuniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Hey, it's Maz from Big Boy Seafood Fest is back, folks. That's right. Catch it while you can, right at Big Boy. Some of your favorites, like that shrimp Alfredo, as Jeff Ifredi calls it, the shrimp Alfred. Get on down there and check it out. The shrimp stir fry and the new fish sandwich. Go to your local Big Boy today. Don't forget the all-you-can-eat fish fry on Fridays. That is awesome. The fish fry buffet on Fridays. Tell them the people at Woodward Sports sent you.
Welcome back to Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. I am Flannel Sam, filling in for Ryan Ermanni. This is Flannel Braylon.
There it is.
There we go. And Tom Mazawey, obviously here in the Maz seat as always. JV Smooth on the ones and twos, and Fletch in the technical director's booth, doing a great job as always. So I mentioned, actually first, I want to get to the results of the Tom Mazawey poll. Do you like Maz's mock draft? Fletch included another option, clown emoji. 39% say clown emoji.
All right.
Oh, wow.
36% say no, and only 24% say yes. And unfortunately, Maz, I am going to have to agree with no. You're definitely not a clown emoji, but
thanks, buddy.
I would have went a little bit more defense.
I could have went defense instead of Smith and Jigba. I chose Smith and Jigba.
Got the bright shiny object.
I like it. Yeah, you get that wide receiver at such a cheap rate. Yeah. And I looked at all the great Ohio State receivers that are out there and are doing so well. How do you not take a chance at Ohio State, the wide receiver university of America?
Yeah, you okay. Okay, relax a little bit.
I mean, Terry McLaurin, Michael Thomas
you're
as well.
Absolutely correct, though. Like you're absolutely right. It was Clemson at one point.
And next year, Marvin Harrison.
It's currently Ohio State, and the number two, Equan, the other wide receiver.
Oh, Emeka Ibuka. Yeah, he's a damn good player.
Going into next year.
He's a damn good player as well. But Braylon Edwards also did a PFF mock draft simulator, and I actually like his. At number 6 overall, C.J. Stroud. I'm not quite as high on him as Bryce Young, but I think he has all the tools. He's proven that in big games. I mean, he did it against Georgia. Ohio State probably should have won that game, and he obviously had that amazing game along with Jackson Smith and Jigba in the previous year's Rose Bowl. I think he has everything you want out of a quarterback. He also showed he was more mobile than you think when he was given the chance, which is something that he was knocked for.
Sneaky.
And he was extremely productive in college, throwing 40 touchdown passes 2 seasons in a row and being a Heisman finalist both of those years. Bryan Bresee, I actually like that pick a lot.
I like Bryan Bresee, man.
I like him a lot. To me, and I know this might sound blasphemous to some, but Bryan Bresee is not that far off from Jalen Carter when you factor in his ceiling. Because you got to remember, in 2020, Bryan Bresee was the #1 recruit in all of college football. He had a very good freshman season. He's had some injury issues, but he's explosive. He can stop the run. He's a great at just finishing in the backfield and harassing quarterbacks. He just has some injury concerns. I think that's the only reason why he would fall to number 18. And Braylon, if you can get Emmanuel Forbes at 48, are you kidding me?
Hey, man, it's a draft right here.
I would run to the podium to get him. I don't think, we're talking about taking a corner in some mock drafts in the first round at 6 overall. Emmanuel Forbes is one of those guys that might be the best of them all when it's all said and done. I'm not saying he will be. One thing about Emmanuel Forbes, he did it in the SEC against better competition, and all that man does is get pick sixes. And as much as you want to lock down half the field, you also want a playmaker, somebody who has a nose for the football, and the football just finds him.
Patrick Peterson, man. He's
absolutely.
Playmaker, getting in zone.
So you're calling for Emmanuel Forbes to be Patrick Peterson?
No, don't do me like that. I was just simply saying you were a playmaker, and I got a little excited.
I would do a backflip if that happened, by the way. But and Jahmyr Gibbs, that's an interesting one. If you get a Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm assuming that you've pretty much given up on DeAndre Swift. And you said that you would probably trade him. And
I would.
I can't hate that because hasn't really been what we all were promised that he would be. And a lot of that is due to him just constantly being nicked up. And he
can't stay on the field.
And even when he is on the field, he's not the guy that you give 15, 20 carries to. He's a guy that is good catching the ball in the backfield and occasionally will get double-digit carries.
Think about it this way. DeAndre Swift, okay. See, he didn't come in with the Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. So this is his 4th year in the league. Let's say he does have a good year this league. What happens year 5? What happens in year 6? We see what happens with the running back shelf life. We see how fastly it gets to up, and then it gets to 7 and levels off, or 7, 8 levels off. We're already approaching year 4 for DeAndre Swift. I'm saying, while you still can potentially recoup some of that benefit, you got to make the move now.
I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs, I was a big fan of his at Alabama, obviously transferring from Georgia Tech. His ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. You said that you might want to recreate an Alvin Kamara. I'm not calling for him to be Alvin Kamara, but
better? Could be better?
Man, Alvin Kamara is so good. But if you want to get rid of, if DeAndre Swift isn't in your future plans and you want to draft a Jahmyr Gibbs in the 2nd round, I would not hate it at all. Tom Mazawey, are you a fan of Braylon Edwards' draft?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I'm talking about.
He's got everything I want.
That's my guy.
The second first-round pick, I could have done that as well. I chose the wide receiver route. His route is awesome. And you get your defensive backfield taken care of, and you get your backup running back ready to go. It's got, C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young, to me, they're 1-2. If I can get one of those guys, I've got myself a home run.
Let me say something real quick. So we're assuming, let's just say for the point of the exercise, we're doing it this way. We're assuming there's no trades, there's nothing. This is just Brad Holmes is drafting in each of these positions. All right, cool. If that's the case, and the credit that we've given Brad Holmes over the last 2, 3, 4, 5 months, or even as the season was going last year, that he knows what he's doing. He's capable of doing the job. So that's kind of how I looked at this draft. I'm looking at it, each pick, so whether it was 6, 18, 48, and 55, I was taking, I think, the biggest need / best player at that position. I think that's what I was looking for. So when we got to pick 6 and I see C.J. Stroud, I'm like, you're going to need a quarterback. I'm like, and this is a guy I feel confident in this pick, feel confident in C.J. Stroud, what he's shown us. This is what I believe the best pick is available. So then I get to 18, I'm like, we need defensive interior. That's all I've been preaching to you and Ryan, and going back and forth with Ryan. Got to get an interior guy, got to get an interior guy. So I get to 18, I see Brian Brzee there. I'm like, Brian Brzee at 18, like, this is a no-brainer. This is what we need, and I think the best pick there. And then, as you heard so eloquently out of Flannel Sam's mouth about Emmanuel Forbes right there, and then Jahmyr Gibbs. So I think I'm looking at it as best player, need-wise, at each pick. That's kind of where I went.
I personally don't think C.J. or Bryce will be there. Yeah. I could pray one of them drops to me. That's what my goal would be. If one of those guys could be there, I'll be as happy as a pig and you know what.
Well, speaking of players who you wouldn't expect to falling Fletch, I want you to put up my mock draft to kind of close out this draft talk. Look who falls to me at first round, number 6 overall.
Oh, you did all of them?
Well, I'll stop at round 2 because I wasn't sure.
How'd you get Will Anderson Jr.?
I don't know how I got Will Anderson Jr.
You put in a cheat code.
I did not put in a cheat code.
You must have had a promo activation code or something. They gave you.
Wow, I got Joey Porter too.
I was shocked too. Will Anderson at 6 overall.
You got a guard. I like that.
Think about this. If Will Anderson had come out in the previous year's draft, he would have been the no doubt run to the podium overall pick. Will Anderson is one of the best college edge rushers and edge rusher prospects I have ever seen. His season in 2021, it was basically like dropping 1986 Lawrence Taylor against college players.
Hey, you better watch out because Maz will come over here and choke you out.
But you know what I'm saying. It was like Ndamukong Suh's.
Yeah, I hear Lawrence Taylor.
It was like Ndamukong Suh's senior season against Nebraska where he was just. It was like dropping Reggie White against college players, something like that. So Will Anderson is a no doubt. If he's there, pick him at 6, and especially if you can pair him with Aiden Hutchinson, who had a great rookie season, along with James Houston. You would have one of the more up-and-coming, terrifying pass rush duos in all of the NFL. And if Joey Porter Jr. is there at number 18, I would take him, although you getting Emmanuel Forbes at 48, that kind of makes me question it. But Joey Porter Jr. is a big, physical guy who plays press man. He
reminds me of somebody I know sound like.
He ain't going to get away from the Steelers, though.
I know. And you know what's funny about Joey Porter Jr., and I know this really isn't something you can quantify. When you watch him play, he's obviously physical as hell. You can tell that when you know that Joey Porter, former linebacker, is his dad. You can just tell he just has that that factor.
I hated
Big
playing
physical
against
corner.
Joey Porter. Though. I hated playing. One, he was big. He was a you know what, talk a lot of smack. Could like come in there, jerseys all up in the pregame warm up. He's warming up on your side. He's talking stuff to the players. I hated him, man. And then he backed it up on the field. Them guys was crazy.
Yeah, and at number 48, I'm gonna kind of speed through these ones. I'm just gonna go to 55. Steve Avila to sort of solidify the offensive line, which is already good, but I'm thinking that we're
Is it Al's son?
I hope not. Never mind. No, I'm kidding. If Steve Avila, because I think the Lions are going to cut Vaitai just because he was hurt and he can save us a lot of cap space. And Evan Brown, I don't know if he's someone that you want to re-sign. Spot Track has his market value at $10 million a year. I'm not paying that for Evan Brown. Steve Avila as a rookie to plug in on this already good offensive line, dominant offensive line. And at number 55, Trenton Simpson is somebody who has been mocked as high as 18 for the Detroit Lions. So if you can get a coverage linebacker, a complete linebacker with speed and instincts like Trenton Simpson to add to a linebacking core, which it played a little over their heads. Malcolm Rodriguez was a revelation, and Alex Anzalone had the best season of his career, but I don't know if I would necessarily count on him. For the value, Trenton Simpson, I would take him at 55. I'm going to start with you, Braylon. What do you think of my mock draft simulator?
I like your mock. I like it a lot. I think obviously you get Will Anderson Jr. to follow you at 6. You'd be an idiot.
Yeah.
You'd be a crazy man.
Yeah, of course.
You would be whatever not to draft him. So definitely got to draft him. Joey Porter Jr. I like what you said. He's physical. I like that physical attitude. Like, you look at certain teams, they have that physicality is like their trademark. Whenever you're playing the Steelers, get ready, you're going to get hit hard. Whenever you play the Ravens, get ready, you're going to hit hard. You play certain teams, you know what they bring. And I think Joey Porter Sr. can bring that to the Detroit Lions because they're starting to chirp. I'm seeing Kirby Joseph talk a little bit more and more every day. You want some Bulldogs on your team. Joey Porter can be one of those. Steelers Villa at guard. I don't want to pay Evan Brown $10 million. I think you got some decisions that they're going to have to make on an offensive line. You bring in a young guy with some talent, can move around as well. That can be great in the long run. Trenton Simpson, I like a linebacker that can play in coverage. Like nowadays, this isn't the era anymore where you got linebackers that are just sitting there as 6'5", 260. No, nowadays you got to be able to move. You got to get guys out in open space to cover tight ends like George Kittle, tight ends like Travis Kelce. So you really got to have linebackers like that, but that also hit. And I think Trenton Simpson can be one of those guys. So I mean, hell, you went through all 8 and got a B+. So apparently, you know what the hell you're doing. So I like what you did in that first 4, and I think if it was just a 4 pick, I think your grade would be an A. If you got B+, A-, A, yeah, you would be a solid A for those 4 picks.
I appreciate that. And one thing that I didn't mention is that having a guy like Will Anderson to add to your pass rush, that's going to help a Joey Porter Jr. That's going to help a Jeff Okudah if he's still there. He's still under contract or whatever free agent. So I personally like my draft quite a bit. I'm happy with it. Tom Mazawey, what say you about my Pro Football Focus simulator mock draft?
As I've said to you millions of times, if Will Anderson or Jalen Carter are there, of course you take them. But in reality, we all know they're not getting past 4. They're just not. That's an impossible draft that you have up there. Impossible. It's beautiful, but it's impossible. It's a game. We're having fun. It's a game. We're having fun. But yours and mine are more realistic.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that guy is not going to be there. So let's take him out, Sam. Who are you picking at number 1? Because he's not going to be there.
But he was on the
I don't care. He's not going to be there.
He's doing the exercise.
I'm asking him now.
Oh, my God.
He's gone. Who are you taking?
I don't have to answer that because I did this fair and square and got Will Anderson.
He's not going to be there.
You got to write that down. That's funny.
What do you want, Fantasy Island?
I don't have to answer
I
that.
didn't cheat.
Is this a Saturday night in 1976?
You know what? Speaking of which, I like what Fletch did with the poll. Do you like Flannel Sam's mock draft? So far, after 67 votes, 55% say yes, 13% say no, and 31% say Sam cheated. And before we move on, cheated. I gotta get JB's my good friend JB's perspective on my mock draft.
I don't have to answer that.
If you have anything to say about Braylon's or Maz's as well,
funny.
Feel free.
JB said you don't have to answer that.
That's what's so nice about these mock drafts, that everyone's doing it differently depending on Braylon, you did upon the needs of the team. Maz, you did upon what they're going to do with free agency coming up and what you preferred was going pretty much offense all the way. And Flannel, you actually, you followed through 100%. I mean, Will Anderson, Joey Porter, if they fall to you, I'm all in getting it. But as Matt said, that is not going to happen. Will Anderson will not be there. But you don't have to answer that question who you're taking at 1 because, hey, Will Anderson was there. I'd take him too.
I appreciate that, JB. And I promise, JB and Fletch, as long as I'm here in the lead, we will get to your mock drafts tomorrow. It's just I don't want to saturate it too much with everybody's. We want to leave something for the
some
people.
meat on the bone, man.
And you know what? I've gotten a little bit of a close look at both of their drafts. I'm not going to exactly tell you how I feel. You have to tune in tomorrow, but I trust their sports acumen. Coming up next, I think we're going to move on to, now that Tom Mazawey is here, Aaron Rodgers is apparently out of the dark.
He is.
Oh, my God.
He's loose, baby.
He's loose. And I want to talk to Maz about where he thinks Aaron Rodgers is going to end up, his expectations for next year. But first, I got to tell you about Custom Health Centers. Get your customized approach to weight loss. Think of all the ways that weight affects your health. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Custom Health Center is blessed to have had over 20,000 success stories. It has been our honor to help many professional athletes lose weight and improve their health. People like Detroit Lion Eddie Murray and Detroit Piston Rick Mahorn. Start losing weight today. Call Dr. Jason and Custom Health at 844-789-8446. That's 844-789-THIN.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
Have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Welcome to Hour 2 of Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. I am, I guess by the thumbnail, Flannel Mazawey. This is Braylon Flannel, and this is, oh man, Braylon Mazawey. Okay, I got it right. And we got JB running the sound and Fletch on the ones.
I prefer Maz Edwards.
Maz Edwards?
Edwards.
Wow, that's actually a lot better. I'm glad you mentioned that. I'll mention it that next time. That has a ring to it.
Wait, Sam is up on the clock. With the number 1 pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, Flannel Sam selects Dan Marino with his number 1 pick.
Hey, you know what? If I was a GM back then, I wouldn't have passed on him like all those teams did. For the record, I think a lot of them, especially the Jets.
Yes.
I mean, Ken O'Brien was good, but Dan Marino, maybe they could have won a Super Bowl with him.
Ken O'Brien.
Ken O'Brien. Who? I think that's what Dan Marino's reaction was, if you guys have seen that great 30 for 30. But anywho, speaking of great quarterbacks, one Aaron Rodgers, who's coming off of probably, I'd say definitely the worst season of his career. And there's a lot of uncertainty surrounding where he's going to go, what if he's going to come back to the Packers. He decided to go into a 4-day darkness retreat. And it kind of gives, if you see that tweet, it gives sort of a description of what it was like. And apparently Aaron Rodgers is out of this said darkness. And I know Tom Mazawey, out of all the people at Woodward Sports Network, you are the biggest Aaron Rodgers fan out of us all. Obviously, we're a Detroit Sports Network. The Lions are our team, and Aaron Rodgers has been a consistent tormentor. But you've always respected him, and I'm actually more of an Aaron Rodgers guy than most as well.
I mean, how are you not?
I am a Maz sympathizer at this point,
right,
for the record. So, Tom Mazawey.
I ain't no sympathizer with Aaron Rodgers.
Can Aaron Rodgers regain his old form, whether it's with the Green Bay Packers or any other team?
Listen to me. The guy just sat in a 300-square-foot room on his own. He had a little mattress. He had a queen-size bed. That's all he had, and he had a pad, a yoga pad to sit on and to contemplate life. That's all he sat in for the last week, or whatever, how many days he did it. This guy, last year, we saw it after the Lions beat them on the last game of the season, last game on a Sunday night. He walked out with his arm around his buddy.
Randall Cobb.
I'm sorry?
Randall Cobb.
Yeah, of course, Randall Cobb. Yeah. And you could just tell, you knew at least one of those guys was not coming back. I believed both of those guys were looking around saying, this has been awesome, but I'm not coming back here anymore. I'm not going to be the starting quarterback here at Lambeau Field anymore. I truly believe he's going to be traded. Now we hear a couple of days ago, Bob McGinn out in Green Bay, one of the most renowned, respected writers in Packers. And he says the Packers are disgusted, that was the quote, we're disgusted with Aaron Rodgers and we want to move on. That was insiders from Green Bay. And then 2 days ago, Tom Pelissero from the NFL Network says, on the contrary, they are looking forward to him coming back. And they believe that he's in a good state of mind, and he has still got some tread on the tires, and he is going to still come in and get the rest of his $150 million contract. He's got $100 million left on it. And he's going to come in here, and we're going to have him as our starting quarterback. I believe he will be traded. They need draft picks. They don't have a lot of money. I'm not sure how the salary cap will work in Green Bay.
What salary cap?
Exactly. It's fake anyway.
It's up to 224 now.
I thought the Jets were going to be his place. Matter of fact, I bet everything. I pushed all my chips on the table a few weeks ago and said he's going to New York. The more I hear, Braylon's been talking to me, saying he's never going to leave Green Bay. He's never going to leave Green Bay. We laughed at him. The word on the street is he's staying in Green Bay.
Yeah, buddy.
I don't think he is still.
Yeah, buddy.
But I think maybe, if it ain't the Jets, it's the Raiders. I still believe I see him and Devontae Adams somehow coming together and making this work. Yes, the Raiders are cash poor. Matter of fact, they're probably the most cash poor team in the NFL. I don't know how they're going to work it. I just don't see him finishing his career in Green Bay. I see a Brett Favre situation. Favre went to the Jets. He failed. He went to the Vikings, almost took him to the Super Bowl. He threw another dumb Brett Favre interception to cost him the game. I just can't see him staying in Green Bay. I'm still leaning. I want him to be a Jet. I don't think he'll be now. I think he goes to the Raiders. And I think Derek Carr goes to the Jets.
I told you what was going to happen. And I don't back
You
up.
did, man.
And I don't back up the point. The reason why I don't back up the point is this, Sam, is look, when you assess Aaron Rodgers, and this is before, the darkness retreat. Side note, I had some pretty bad times in Cleveland, but never did they drive me to go to a room by myself and sit there with a yoga mat and a blow-up air mattress and think for 6 days about, do I want to come back to Cleveland or no? It had to be some pretty bad things up there in Green Bay. But all jokes aside, when you're Green Bay, before we get to Aaron Rodgers, you're looking at Green Bay. Green Bay, you're in the NFC. You're in the NFC. As you're looking at getting rid of Aaron Rodgers and what draft picks you're going to get and et cetera, and we're really going to remove ourselves from Aaron Rodgers. We're really going to, to detach and move on, etc. And then you start to look. Who the hell is going to quarterback for the 49ers? What are the Eagles going to do with all the moves that they need to make with the free agent players that they're going to have hit the scene? Am I scared of Seattle? Do I really believe in the Minnesota Vikings? So what, they have Brian Flores. Do I believe in them? The Detroit Lions, that was a cute story last year, but do I believe they're going to be better than us with Aaron Rodgers? What is our realistic best shot to win this thing? And it always comes back down to the same thing. It's with number 12 in your backfield. You already agreed to pay him $150 million. Might as well just pay him another $100. You might as well just pay him another $100 and give it 2 more cracks, because the NFC is so fickle. This is your shot. Romeo Doubs looks good towards the end of the season last year. You saw what Christian Watson did. He came on strong the last 8 seasons. Great
running backs.
And then the running backs came on strong when what happened? The passing game opened back up. So if I'm Green Bay, I'm like, No, it's Aaron, and we're just gonna have to figure out a way to tell him this is what we want. Yeah, go do your darkness retreat, but this is what we're expecting you coming back into 2023, your second to last year. No, it's gonna work here. We have invested too much effing money into you. We have invested too much effing time into you and all this weird stuff that you have been. We've let you do that. Now it's time for us to put our foot down. We ain't sending your ass nowhere. You're going to stay here and you're going to get that championship you told us you're going to do. I'm not sending him nowhere. And if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm looking at it. I don't want to go in the AFC. It's too many questions in the Raiders. They're trying to put Darren Waller on the market. Hunter Renfrow on the market. So you mean to tell me I got to go to Devontae Adams, who'll be the only player there once they bring me in? No, I don't want to go there. And I don't want to go down to the Dolphins, even though they got Tariq and they have Waddle. I got to see Josh Allen twice a year. Man, the hell with that. You got to stay in Green Bay. You got to get it done. That's what I would say if I was Green Bay. You ain't going nowhere.
Okay. Aaron Jones last week took a pay cut to stay in Green Bay. They're making some moves slowly, quietly.
Yep.
I hope you're right.
I do too. Because I want to bust
I want
the Lions to bust his ass when he's putting everything on the line.
I hope he stays in Green Bay. And listen, guys, you know I'm a Lions junkie. I'm a junkie. I love them. Go to my house. I've got 1,000 Lions things in my office.
The last message.
Look at the stuff I wear usually. Don't look at the Yankees today. I love watching the Green Bay Packers with Aaron Rodgers on Sunday afternoon at 4:30 on Fox from Lambeau Field.
4:15.
4:15, sometimes 4:30.
This is true.
As much as I love my team, I want Aaron Rodgers to finish his career in Green Bay.
Yeah.
And I want to see some great matchups still in that NFC North. I love that division. The Vikings, the Packers, and the Lions. That's a big three if Aaron Rodgers can play at the top of his game again. And you know what? You're convincing me.
Yeah.
You're convincing me, bro.
The hell with that.
I'm with you.
Let's go.
I'm with you.
You can't go nowhere, Aaron. You got to get it done
here. You got to win here.
You got to win here.
Win at Lambeau.
What if Green Bay, and I turn it back to you, Sam. What if Green Bay, they send him to Miami and give him 2 picks, or they send him somewhere, and Aaron messes around and wins somewhere? Green Bay would be hot. Green Bay would be pissed. Their owner would. Oh wait, they don't have an owner. I digress.
No, I've been on the record saying that a realistic expectation for the Detroit Lions is to win the NFC North. But a lot of that was predicated on the Aaron Rodgers uncertainty and having Jordan Love play quarterback, who none of us know can play or not because he's never been given the opportunity.
I do. He can't play because they offered Aaron Rodgers $150 million.
And you know what?
That lets you know Jordan Love can't play.
By that logic, yeah, they probably don't trust Jordan Love to take over. But with Aaron Rodgers, like Maz said, they're bringing back Aaron Jones, who is one of the best running backs in the NFC. Average over 5 yards a carry, is a great threat out of the backfield.
Yep.
Christian Watson, he came on towards the end of the year. In the last however many games, 7 or 8, he was basically Garrett Wilson. All he did was score touchdowns. He became Aaron Rodgers' favorite target. And when you look at also their defense, they've got guys like Kenny Clark. Rashawn Gary was injured for the last part of the season. Jair Alexander, Devondre Campbell, they are all coming back. So this idea that
Tunyon.
He's a free agent.
He's leaving. But you know what? Dalton Schultz is available. Cowboys did not franchise him.
And they didn't give him the ball when they needed to. If I'm Dalton Schultz, I keep my options open.
I like Schultz.
This idea that Aaron Rodgers is just done and can't play anymore, I reject that 1,000% because even last season, it was his worst year ever as a starter. Let's just call it a spade.
Still only threw 12 picks.
He still only threw 12 interceptions, which is a lot for Aaron Rodgers, who historically is the only all-time great quarterback who does not throw interceptions.
Under 10.
He did last year. He basically lived under 10 his whole career. So Aaron Rodgers can still play, and with another year, another offseason with Christian Watson, their first full offseason with Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, the Packers are absolutely an NFC North threat if Aaron Rodgers is there because of him being an all-time great quarterback, not quite in his prime, but still good, and the roster around him. They've got a lot of pieces, and I know Maz, you really appreciated this Aaron Rodgers talk from somebody who is more of an Aaron Rodgers sympathizer than a lot of people here. You're not dealing with Stick today. You're dealing with Flannel Sam, someone who puts some respect on that name.
Yeah, it's respect.
Yes, he's an all-time great quarterback.
He's still a crybaby.
Yeah, well, that's.
He's still a crybaby.
What kind of draft picks do they have? Draft capital.
Draft capital. I'll have to.
Let's take a peek at that because they could still go out there and find some extra pieces. Look, this is the Lions' chance. I believe the Lions will win the division regardless if Aaron Rodgers comes back or not. I truly believe that. And I like the Vikings. I mean, they're a couple of players away from being a Super Bowl contender. I'm telling you, do not diss the Vikings and Kirk Cousins. But the three of them, man, the Lions, the Vikings, and the Packers, that's as formidable a trio as you're going to get in any division around the league. And I mean the NFC North. The NFC East last year dominated. I think the NFC Central, or North now, can dominate this year.
Yeah, and when we come back, I'll actually humor Maz. I actually have the Green Bay Packers draft capital listed in front of me, and after we get to that, we can go around the NFL a little bit more.
Why not?
Why not? I love going around the NFL. It's one of my favorites. But first, we got to talk about Fairway. Looking for a way to elevate dinner? Choose Fairway Packing Company, family-owned and operated since 1956. Try their Burrata Blend burgers, award-winning chop house steaks, or impress your friends with dry-aged Wagyu tomahawk steaks. See why the top chefs in the country choose Fairway. Visit their steak shop in Grosse Pointe Woods or order online to ship anywhere. Visit fairwaypacking.com for more details. Fairway Packing Company, sourced, cut, aged, packed to perfection.
Saturdays at 1 p.m. Make sure you're watching WoodwardSports.com for our new show, Chompin' Puck.
He shoots! He scores!
With four-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty and Michael Gentry, Chompin' Puck is taking the Detroit hockey community and giving them a voice. Pros to Joes. You'll get the best Detroit hockey coverage around. Chompin' Puck. Saturdays 1 p.m. on WoodwardSports.com.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Swiss Insurance Group and their employees are heavily involved in the community.
Heavily.
It's very rewarding, but it
Very
comes
rewarding.
with great responsibility. If you sit on local youth sports board, homeowners association, or you volunteer as a coach, directors and officers insurance is a must. Must protect the kids, must protect the parents, you got to protect the community. Give out Mark a call at Swiss Insurance Group.
Welcome back to Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. I am Flannel Sam, filling in for Ryan Ermanni. This is Flannel Braylon, and in the Maz seat is Maz Edwards, according to that amazing thumbnail that was made today. We got JV Smooth in the sound booth and Fletch on the ones and twos. So we were talking before about how the Green Bay Packers are set up, at least for this season, if Aaron Rodgers were to return. And I actually have their draft picks pulled up right now. They have round 1, they have the 15th overall, they have the 45th in the second, third round, 78th, fourth round, 116th, fifth round, 151st, and a bunch of 7th round picks. But I'll stop at round 5 at this one. Looks like the Green Bay Packers, if they can hit on these draft picks, might be better off than we think. And I started the mock draft PFF simulator, and at number 15, the top choices, you got tackle Paris Johnson Jr., and you also got Peter Skoronski from Northwestern.
He's a stud, that kid.
Yeah. Brian Brzee is still there at 15. Jordan Addison and Broderick Jones. Does anybody have a preference on which one you want me to lock in?
Their offensive line, now they brought Bakhtiari back. He's still getting paid, and then they got some 2 young linemen last year, correct?
Mm-hmm. No.
I'm thinking another receiver. Thinking Brzee or Addison. Which one? Are you thinking at Northwestern?
Skoronski?
Maz, do you have a preference for that one?
I think you got to go with Brzee. I do.
Okay, you know what? I love Brzee, as you know. All right, we drafted Brian Brzee to the Green Bay Packers to help solidify their
defense. That takes
defense.
him away from the Lions now.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Oh, the Green Bay Packers, even though they have Jair Alexander, guess who is first up on
Forbes.
Emmanuel Forbes.
Oh, my.
Are you guys good if I lock in Emmanuel
Book
Forbes?
it.
Oh, yeah.
Book it.
All right. Let me get
Maz
this.
is so excited about the opposition right now.
So
It's
now
hilarious.
in this PFF draft simulator, it has the Packers taking
Where are my
Clemson
Packers shirt
interior
I'm
defensive
just
lineman
messing
Brian
with
Brzee and Mississippi State cornerback Emmanuel Forbes. And now
Is there a tight end available in the third round?
let me see.
Is Michael Mayer around?
Michael Mayers.
Tight
Let
end.
me see if Darnell Washington. I wouldn't go tight end in this.
All right.
in
So
this
Michael
one.
Mayer's gone?
Yeah, at 76, 100%.
All right. I might have taken him in the second round if he was around.
Let me see
If I was the pack.
who they all have. Let me get back to it really quick. I clicked on something and now there's the back button. All right. Okay. Sorry about this.
So, Bray, you were right, man, because when you said it, you've been saying it, that the Packers are a lot better off than we all thought they were. Remember Ryan had them as a 7-win team last year. He was close.
No, he was
as close as they came, but I think they're better off. Even if they came back as is, I think they're better off this year.
Ryan was correct in terms of where they were going to be to start the season and for the most part of the season. They were young. They were trying to figure things out. Their fearless leader wasn't there as usual. Yeah. So it was going to take them some time to figure it out. And they did towards the end of the year. At the end of the year, Aaron Rodgers started playing better. The team started playing better. Jair Alexander started talking some stuff, started locking some wide receivers down. They played a lot better at the end of the year. And then you look at their draft picks and what they have moving forward. You're like, well, they also finished 8-9, or 9-8, I believe. No, they finished 8-9.
Yes,
they finished opposite, but they also finished strong at the end of the year. I think they won what?
Yeah, if they would have beat the Lions, they would have made the playoffs.
Exactly, they won 7 of 8 or 6 of 7. So I think they're just in a much better position, especially if somehow after this darkness retreat, where you know who works, they'll be a much better team than people think.
All right, and now that I've got it all back on track, in the third round, an option for the Green Bay Packers is Alabama safety Jordan Battle. You've got Georgia safety Christopher Smith, SMU wide receiver Rashee Rice, UAB running back Dwayne McBride, or cornerback from South Carolina Darius Rush. I like Jordan Battle a lot. And they're losing Amos. He's a free agent, the Green Bay Packers.
All right, so take him.
Jordan Battle.
Yeah.
I like the way this draft is playing out so well. It's great that this is so quick that it's going to come up in just a second. At 116, you have Gervon Dexter Sr., interior defensive lineman from Florida, safety Brandon Joseph. Let's see what they do. Roshan Johnson, Bijan Robinson's backup at Texas. Cam Jones, linebacker from India. Man, once you get this,
you're going deep now.
Yeah, you're going deep, man. Let's get around this NFL, man. Enough of this Packers stuff, man.
Exactly.
The Packers are going to be better.
But I'll tell you what. When it comes to that Packers draft, if they were to get, Brian Brzee, Emmanuel Forbes, and Jordan Battle, that is a defense that I think would be pretty formidable.
I don't think the Lions want to see.
All right. So speaking of the NFL, I got a question regarding New England Patriots quarterback Mac Jones. Mac Jones apparently will not be traded in 2023, but next year though. And Mac Jones at parts in this season did not look so good, although that was not all his fault. And at one point being benched, and also he had an injury, but being benched for Bailey Zappi. Maz, I know you're a bigger Mac Jones guy than
I
lot of
am.
them.
I like Mac Jones. Tom E. Curran did this interview. Tom E. Curran is like the guy for the New England Patriots beat. He knows what he's talking about. He's got his own show there. And he says that Mac Jones, there was rumors that he was going to get traded. They didn't like him anymore. He's like, that's not going to happen this year. But if he does not take that next step, then they possibly could be dealt in 2024. But this year, they go with Mac Jones, and we'll see how that rolls. I like the kid. I think he was mismanaged last year. I mean, how do you put anybody in the hands of Matt Patricia? By the way, Matt Patricia was interviewed as a defensive coordinator for the Broncos yesterday. Thank God they didn't take him. They went with Vic Fangio. Fangio got the. I think it's Vic Fangio.
Fangio's been there before.
Yeah, I'm about to say Vic Fangio, Matt Patricia.
But Matt Patricia was actually interviewed. I mean, how was this guy even getting interviews? I don't understand what this appeal is, but right now he's out of a job, and I think Mac Jones will be under the tutelage of Bill O'Brien and Bill Belichick. I think Bill Belichick's going to take a bigger role with that offense this year. They got a lot of talent on New England. They need another receiver. Jacoby Myers, the free agent.
Yeah.
Maybe they re-sign him, but they need a receiver. Their running backs, I think they found a couple of good running backs last year.
Sure.
The Patriots did. They're going to be trouble again. I really believe that. I know you're not a Mac Jones guy, Bray.
I don't know if they'll be trouble. They'll definitely be better. With Mac Jones, this is my thing. He played well his first year. They put him in safe spots. They didn't let him really, kind of experience, go out on his own. He wasn't necessarily the one making plays, making calls, making adjustments. He more so was doing what Josh McDaniels put him up, and he set him up for success. He had a Pro Bowl first year. He makes the playoffs. Nothing special, but at the same time, it was good enough. Mac Jones is just another one of those Alabama quarterbacks that happened before the quarterbacks that were mobile. Think about when Alabama was first winning championships. Greg McElroy was the quarterback. Greg McElroy, he looked amazing when they're winning national championships, but Greg McElroy is not a guy that's going to have success in the NFL. I actually played for the Jets when Greg McElroy played, so I played with Greg McElroy. A.J. McCarron's a guy. He's throwing out there the Mays and Julio Jones. He's got T.J. Yeldon, and the list goes on, the running backs that they had at the time in the backfield, Richardson, etc. He's going to have success, but when he got to the next level, he's not. Insert the mobile quarterbacks. Obviously, you look at Tua Tagovailoa, success. You look at Jalen Hurts, success now. Now you go back to a Mac Jones. Mac Jones fit into the old school mode of Alabama quarterbacks. So I'm not over Mac Jones, but at the same time, I know who Mac Jones is going to be. Mac Jones has a ceiling, and he already crossed it.
You believe
his first
that?
year.
You really?
Yeah.
He's a kid yet.
But he's not going to be anything more than he was that first year. He'll have some more stats if you put better people around him. But he's not anybody that's going to be anything special in the league. And I think that first year you saw, as special as he's going to be. And I don't even think I'm wrong about that. I think I'm 100% correct about that.
By the way, Vance Joseph, thank you to my man T on the chat.
Okay.
Vance Joseph is the defensive coordinator for the Broncos. Vic Fangio went to Miami.
Okay, yeah.
I got my V's mixed up.
Yeah, Vance Joseph. I like that. And as far as Mac Jones goes, I don't think he's as bad as he was at times this year or as limited, but I think in his rookie season, Josh McDaniels kind of had the training wheels on a little bit, and that did help him set him up for success, but I don't know if he's a guy that can take you to the next level, although I do think he's better than what Greg McElroy, A.J. McCarron. Remember Jacob Coker, another Alabama quarterback that they won a national championship
He's better
with.
than, but at the same time, he still fits in that mold.
I get it.
Like, those guys had a lot of success because of the weapons on the outside, the weapons at tight end. I mean, you're looking at O.J. Howard and your A.J. McCarron. So, I mean, he's a good quarterback, and I think there is something there, but I don't think there's anything special there, if that makes sense. And there's nothing wrong with that sometimes.
Who did we talk about yesterday in Tampa Bay? They took
Kyle
the Florida
Trask.
Kyle Trask.
Trask.
You know, we forced a Kyle Trask moment yesterday.
Yeah,
we talked about it, and then yesterday afternoon, they named him the starting quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They say he is going to be the starting quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when the 2023 season starts.
Hey, you're Tampa. You don't have any money. You're starting over anyway. Like
they like him.
But I'm not disrespecting. I'm just talking about all that went into it. You're Tampa. You don't have any money. You drafted him second overall last year. Second round last year. That's for a reason. That was for, hey, when Tom's done, we got this guy here locked and loaded. They like him. Good. We'll see what happens with that. They got so many other needs. We'll see what happens with development. He still has some wide receivers to throw the ball to. Godwin's under contract. So is 13. I can't think of
Evans.
Mike Evans. So is Mike Evans still under contract? So Cameron Brate's still under contract, as well as they got some guys there for him to throw the ball to. We'll see.
Well, if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers flounder under Kyle Trask and their fans need someone to call after they're depressed after not getting to watch Tom Brady play anymore, who would they go to, Braylon Edwards?
The Sports Marketing Agency helps spread awareness about mental health as well as substance abuse. They have a podcast, and the podcast is called The S Word. And the S Word is for stigma because we're trying to destigmatize mental health. We're trying to have conversations, we're trying to give information, and we're trying to let you see the platforms where people are talking about the things that you might be going through. It's okay to not be okay, but when you're not okay, where do you go? Go to thesportsma.com.
By now you know me, Christina Schnurry, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com. as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
When it comes to making your haircut truly an experience, there's no better place than Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Come to any one of our 26 Metro Detroit locations for an award-winning haircut experience and qualify for a chance to win a down payment for your dream home up to $200,000. Our precision haircut and talented stylists will have you looking good, feeling good, and give you a chance to change your life forever. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Hey, it's Maz for Cousins Maine Lobster. Here's your chance to make some money for yourself and help Cousins Maine Lobster win a contest. They are running for the Lobster Food Truck. They're up for Food Truck of the Year. Make sure you go vote for them today at freep.com for the best of Detroit. Make sure you follow them on Facebook as well. Facebook.com/CML Detroit. That's for Cousins Maine Lobster Detroit for your chance to win a $300 Visa gift card if they pull it off and win Food Truck of the Year. Make sure you try Cousins Maine Lobster today. Scan that QR code, find out where their trucks are in your neighborhood, and spread the word. CousinsMaineLobster.com.
Welcome back to Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. My goodness, it's 3:30 already. Time flies when you're having fun. I am Flannel Sam. This, according to our thumbnail today, is Flannel Braylon. And we got Maz Edwards in the Maz chair. And, of course, JV Smooth in the sound booth. And Fletch on the ones and twos. And Tom Mazawey, I know that you always got NFL questions.
I do.
And we got a couple more left. So, Maz, take us around the NFL.
All right. LaShawn McCoy, Shady McCoy the other day after Eric Bieniemy got the gig with Washington. He is their new offensive coordinator. Here was his quote, LaShawn McCoy. I wish him well, but Washington, don't let the Chiefs' success or coaching titles fool y'all. The traits of skills you need to be a good coordinator, I haven't seen or witnessed it. So he's not a big fan of Eric Bieniemy.
And he was there with Bieniemy.
He was.
Yeah, Shady saw it up close in person.
Jamal Charles, remember him from the Chiefs? He
25.
came out and he says, well, I got to disagree with you, Shady. Bieniemy coached me for 4 years. I learned so many things for EB. I still keep in contact with him. A great husband and father. He deserves to be a head coach. And Tyreek Hill says, Shady, mad EB told him to tuck the ball. LOL. So a couple of guys coming to his rescue. Braylon, what say you?
In the era now where former players have a lot of voice, because Shady McCoy is one of those guys, he's very outspoken, much like myself, so I do respect that aspect. But sometimes you got to make sure you do all your homework, like make sure that you're not just saying something, sometimes to be on the other side of something so that people follow you or listen or want to pay attention to speak on it or speak first, whatever the name of the show is. Like, I understand where he's coming from to a certain extent. You know, he's looking at Eric Bieniemy and, well, actually, I don't understand. Like, sometimes I was trying to be like, understanding. I don't understand. He was there with Eric Bieniemy. I understand that. But was he sitting in on meetings with Andy Reid and the offensive staff when they were going over game planning? Was he sitting there and watching Eric Bieniemy put the game plan system in? Is he mad because he told him to tuck the ball? Because we all know Shady carries the ball with one hand, but he never fumbles. Is he mad, or is he just having conversation? Because it's interesting. You see Jamal Charles come out and he says, I disagree. But when Jamal Charles was talking about disagreeing, don't forget that he started off as a running backs coach. And Jamal Charles is a running back. So he may have gave him some great insight on how to be a running back, how to carry, how to pick up the blitz, what to look for when you have certain plays in third down when you're dealing with different quarterbacks. He's might have given him some great insight, but not necessarily from an offensive coordinator standpoint. And he mentions he's a great husband. He's a great father. Like, these are great things to be. These are things that all men should aspire to be. But these aren't things that make you a great offensive coordinator. These aren't things that come down the list when I'm looking at who my offensive coordinator is. Is he a good man? Is he a good husband? Does this MF know how to call plays up? Can he bring in Sky Moore in motion and then pivot Sky Moore back out in the Super Bowl and the Philadelphia Eagles not see it? So I don't know where I'm at on this side of the equation because Eric Bieniemy right now, to be honest, is not a proven offensive coordinator. Like just by nature, where we know 1,000% this is him. This is what he is. Like Andy Reid hasn't come out and said what Eric Bieniemy has designed for the book. Like even when they were talking about the players, he didn't come out and say that was Eric Bieniemy that saw that on film and noticed that. He didn't say that. He said we did a pretty good job of studying. So I think it's still kind of the verdict is out, as they say. What is Eric Bieniemy totally as an offensive coordinator, as a genius mind? Where is he on that? So I don't actually see a problem with what Shady said because it hasn't. We don't know for a fact what it is.
Well, Sam, that's your favorite team and your favorite guy at quarterback. Was it the quarterback or was it the coordinator?
This is where I think Eric Bieniemy has kind of suffered fairly or unfairly for being the offensive coordinator under head coach Andy Reid, who we all know is one of the most brilliant offensive minds ever. You look back what he did with Donovan McNabb in Philadelphia and got all those teams to NFC championships into a Super Bowl. And when Andy Reid got Patrick Mahomes, and even with Alex Smith had his best year of his career under Andy Reid. And Patrick Mahomes, once Patrick Mahomes got there, it went to the next stratosphere. And having Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback, probably the most talented quarterback who's ever lived. So with Eric Bieniemy, you don't really know if it was more Andy Reid or Eric Bieniemy. It's a shame that he has to go prove himself with Washington because that's a situation where I don't.
That's why I would say it's some BS now. That's the other side of it. Is yes, I think we don't know exactly what Eric Bieniemy is as offensive coordinator. It's a shame that he has to take that lateral move to go to DC to figure out if he's a coordinator. The reason why that sucks, man, and this is the other side of the equation.
Yeah.
Kevin O'Connell is a guy that I know. Kevin O'Connell is a guy that I played with when I was with the Jets. And when I was there, all he ever talked about was being a coach in NFL, being an offensive coordinator in advance. He was doing scout team, and I was kicking with him because I would go to the scout team just so I could match up with Revis and Cromartie all practice long. Because if I didn't do the scout team, then a lot of my reps were Crow or with Revis. They wouldn't be real reps. I wanted to get that real smoke. So I took a lot of scout team reps, so I got to know Kev. All he talked about was that. Fast forward, Kev becomes head coach of Minnesota Vikings this past season off of being the offensive coordinator under offensive genius Sean McVay for one season. That's the other side of it. Kevin O'Connell, is he proven? Was that Sean McVay or was that Kevin O'Connell? Well, the Minnesota Vikings didn't seem to care. They seemed to think that it was him. They picked up on him in 1 year. Meanwhile, Bieniemy's been doing it for 5. That's the part that sucks. Is you trusted Kevin O'Connell after 1 year.
Yeah.
You trusted Zach Taylor. You trusted all these quarterbacks, all these offensive minds under offensive-minded geniuses. So it's a similar situation, and I think that's the part that people have a problem with. And when I say people, it's not black people. It's people that see what the situation is. People have a problem with that situation.
Well, if he could do the same with Sam Howell that he did with Patrick Mahomes, then he'll be a head coach the following year. That would be a guarantee.
At that point, write him a blank check because that's working miracles right there because Eric Bieniemy is not going into as good of a situation. You mentioned Kevin O'Connell. What about Mike McDaniel? He was the offensive coordinator under Kyle Shanahan, who is one of the best offensive minds of this generation.
Except during the Super Bowl.
To the point, but that's the other side of it. It's here's a good thing with Mike McDaniel. We see Mike McDaniel first year with the Miami Dolphins as a head guy, his way, doing his way. He looked damn good. They look good. They out-schemed, they outperformed the Buffalo Bills 3 times in a row. You look at if Tua never gets injured last season with the head injury, what could the Dolphins have done last year? So he's proven, but once again, you took him after 1 year. You gave him a shot. You look at Kevin O'Connell. Look at Kevin's year. Would you call that success? Yeah, it was all right. It was they won 13 games.
Yeah,
that's success. You took a chance, although your running game stinks. You got to fix that. But they took a chance and it worked. Somebody got to take that chance on Eric Bieniemy.
Well, in the way that the NFL is going, if you're an NFL team wanting to hire a head coach, you want to get that young, innovative offensive mind, like a Kyle Shanahan or a Sean McVay or a Kevin O'Connell or Mike McDaniel or Zach Taylor.
And the list goes on.
That is what Eric Bieniemy has been, except for the fact that he's being punished, among other things, for being under Coach Andy Reid, because I think a lot of people think it's more Andy Reid than Eric Bieniemy. But the numbers speak for themselves. He's an offensive coordinator on 2 Super Bowl teams.
Listen, I'll just say something. Back when he was in college in Colorado, he had some issues. back then.
Yep.
The Lions hired Matt Patricia. He had issues, as we found out after the day he said, "Hi, congratulations, I'm the Lions head coach. I'm looking." Then we heard about like rape allegations and stuff like that. He got a chance. Bieniemy didn't get a chance. It is what it is.
Yeah, here's my thing. So all those
they each had checkered pasts. It is what it is.
So all those franchises that are using that checker pass, if he's good enough to be the offensive coordinator for a team esteemed as Kansas City Chiefs and a family like the Hunt family, then ladies and gentlemen, he's good enough to be the head coach of your franchise. Let's call a spade a spade. It's the truth.
He also had an NFL career as well, so it didn't derail him in any way, shape, or form, except maybe in him getting a head coaching job, but we don't know exactly what the reason. We can speculate, but I think we would all agree that Eric Bieniemy, on paper, has proven himself enough to get an NFL head coaching job.
For sure.
And it's a shame that he has to go be the offensive coordinator at Washington in a situation in which some might say he's being set up to fail, although if he succeeds with Washington.
You know what? Maybe he gets that job if Rivera gets fired. Rivera might get canned.
Yeah.
All right, maybe he steps in and he's the head coach. Matter of fact, I'm going to say that's going to happen.
You know what? Rivera is a defensive head coach, so they need a guy like Eric Bieniemy. If he is who everybody thinks he is.
And he did get associated. He did get the associated title as well. So
Remember
which
that.
means it falls to him. So that means the head coaching job does fall to him. I mean, there are some pieces there. That's the interesting thing about the Washington Commanders. There are pieces there.
There are.
You look at Gibson at running back. You look at Scary Terry at wide receiver. You look at low-key a guy that we both love, but you called it first. Jahan Dotson was amazing last year.
He had a good year.
Jahan Dotson is going to be so they've got some weapons. Defensive players, Montez Sweat. What the heck is going on with Chase Young? What are they going to do with that? So they've got some things there. It's just about you got Taylor Heineke.
You need a quarterback.
Exactly.
You need a quarterback.
No quarterback.
Maybe Sam Howell will blossom into a quarterback.
He was good in North Carolina.
If Sam Howell or Taylor Heineke ever happen to mosey onto Detroit and they want to practice throwing things like a football, where would you go, Tom Mazawey?
I'm telling you, they got to get the Hamtramck right away. Get to the Folding Warehouse. Ask for Chris Hutt. Tell him that the guys here at Woodward Sport sent you down there. 2 ways to play it: $12 unlimited open play or a private lane reservation. 10 or 12 people on a lane. Thanks, Bray. And you can have that for 2 hours and $120. That's less than $10 per person. That's a deal. Any drink you want. They got multiple full bars, over 100 beers on the beer menu, and the $2 mystery beer machine. If you want your own food, bring it in or have it delivered. They don't mind. There's plenty of room. Have a great time. Get your full on at foldingwarehouse.com.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron. Here we go. Got to grab the cranberry. Oh, wait. It's 2 for $4. Got to double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Krogers. And if you want to know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
You're about to be shell-shocked. The catch of the day is in. Big Boy Seafood Fest is officially back. Join us for some of your favorites like our popcorn shrimp and pike perch platters and our classic fish and chips. This year, we've reeled in some fresh catches like our shrimp Alfredo, shrimp stir-fry, and our fish sandwich. And especially, don't forget about our all-you-can-eat Friday night fish fry buffet. Every day is a fish fry at Big Boy.
We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports. Either way, the heavyweights are here. Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m.
Now is the best time to join Planet Fitness.
Oh,
Planet
yeah, why
Fitness,
is that?
Because Planet Fitness is home to the judgment-free zone, where you can work out in a non-intimidating, judgment-free atmosphere for just $10 a month.
Only $10?
Yes, only $10. Now look, your fitness is essential, and fitness is a key part of your physical and mental wellness. With more than 50 convenient locations in the Metro Detroit area, so no matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness nearby. Join in club today or check them out online at planetfitness.com.
Welcome back to Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. I am Flannel Sam. This is Flannel Braylon, and we got Maz Edwards in the Maz chair. If you don't know what we're talking about, just look at that beautiful thumbnail of the guys in the back.
I took the flannel off. I think that's why I'm killing people.
Oh,
people,
yes.
They can't see it. I had a flannel jacket.
They can't see it, but that's all right. It still exists. That thumbnail will live forever in, I wouldn't even want to say infamy, whatever the opposite of it is, because it was such an amazing thumbnail. But if you're a Detroit sports fan, there is a lot to tune into tonight. You've got the Red Wings playing a huge game at home against the New York Rangers, a team that the Red Wings are chasing.
Rangers killed them the last time here in Detroit.
No, that is absolutely true. The Rangers are one of the best teams in the NHL at this point. One of them, definitely a team that the Red Wings are sort of aspiring to be. And the thing about the Detroit Red Wings is they are in a legitimate playoff push. They are 2 games out of the last wild card spot.
2 points?
Or 2 points, my bad, 2 points. I said 2 games.
They're not the Tigers.
They're not the Tigers.
Yeah, you're right, because they wouldn't be 2 games out of playoff contention.
Tigers are already 2 games back. They haven't even played yet.
2 points.
They start off 5 games back.
We'll talk to Raj tomorrow, Helio tomorrow from Lakeland, because the Tigers open up spring training Saturday.
Everybody's in Florida.
Yeah.
And that is spearheaded by the Red Wings by a 6-1 stretch where they won 6 out of the last 7, including 4 on the road. And now they have 2 at home, 1 against the New York Rangers and 1 against the Tampa Bay Lightning. And these are a couple of big games to kind of see where the Detroit Red Wings are at.
Toughest schedule in the NHL right now to finish the year are the Red Wings.
And I'll tell you what, if you ask me, I think if they got 3 points in these 2 games, that would be phenomenal, exemplary. You at least need to come away with 2. And during this stretch, remember there was a time where people weren't so sure if they wanted to pay the captain Dylan Larkin. But Dylan Larkin has responded in these last 7 games with 12 points, playing the best hockey of his entire career. And the Red Wings are winning with them, with that amazing play. And defensively, they've only allowed 15 goals in the last 7 games. Ville Husso looks like they might have solidified the goalie position. Mo Seider, obviously. Wallman, he's been a bit of a revelation. They've outscored their opponents in the last 7 games, 28-15. They are on a hot streak. So, Tom Mazawey, I'm going to start with you. How important is the Red Wings either, I wouldn't say necessarily winning this game, but at least getting a point and just kind of gauging where they actually are?
Well, this is a different team than the last time they played them. I mean, I picked the Rangers at the beginning of the year to be a Stanley Cup finalist. I even might have slipped and said they might win the Cup. Little did I know that the Bruins would lose like 1 game all year. But I still think the Bruins could be beat. But as far as the Rangers against the Wings tonight, they're home, they're hot. You got to keep the streak going. But if I'm happy between them and the Lightning, they play back-to-back games with them. If they get a point in each game, I think that would be phenomenal. I'm not even looking for them to win both games. Just keep the streak going. It would be great to win, and they're playing very well now, but they're playing teams, I think, that are a little bit better than them right now. I think they'll be in this game to the end. Maybe they can win it in overtime or something like that. But if you get a point in each of these games, to me, that keeps it going, Ray.
Yeah, I think the good thing for Detroit Red Wings fans is going into this season, after last season, you had some successes, some players played well, but you still saw that the team was lacking. You wanted this season to be a season where you guys were playing tough against the Rangers, tough against teams like the Florida Panthers, how good they were last year, tough against the Lightning, tough against the Oilers, the Maple Leafs, etc. You wanted them to be very competitive against those teams, but you want them to be fighting for a playoff spot towards the end. They didn't necessarily have to make the playoffs this year, but you wanted them 2 points out, 1 point out, right there at the end, so you can really believe in what the Yzer plan is moving forward. And I think you're seeing that. The fact that we're talking about they have 4 games in hand, they're 4 games in hand, 2 points back. Like, that bodes well going into this end stretch of the NHL season. So I think they're on par to have a pretty good season, as we would have wanted as Red Wings fans. And also, don't let those jokers slip in there. Like, don't let them slip into the 8 seed, something like that, of that nature, because now you're really jacked. And once again, before you even go to 2023, remember what we talked about. If you get in the NHL playoffs, like, it's probably the number 1 playoff that if you get in, you're in.
You're in it to win.
It does, exactly. You're in. It doesn't matter about what happened, how you got here. You're in. So the Red Wings they're hot. They deserve the talk that we're doing. They deserve the talk that's going on around town. They deserve the optimism. So Shout out to Stevie Y, man. You talked about it. Here we are.
Braylon, I'm so glad you mentioned the games in hand thing, because in the NFL with a point system, they have 4 games in hand out of the 8 spot as well as 2 points out, which means that, hell, at this point, I would probably predict them to make the playoffs, although they do have a tough stretch coming up, but they just played a tough stretch. This 6 of 7 was on a tough stretch. A lot of that was done on a West Coast swing in which they outperformed their expectations by, I think, a mile. And it's just so great that a Detroit team is in a playoff push. Tonight, the Red Wings are appointment viewing. I mean, out of all the games going on tonight, the Detroit Red Wings are the one that is by far the most important and has playoff implications. And shout out to Steve Yzerman. Steve Yzerman, I believe, when it's all said and done, in the next 5 years or so when the Red Wings have won a cup, will be no doubt the most legendary sports figure in the history of Detroit for what he did as a player and what I believe he is going to do as a president, GM, whatever you want to call him.
There's somebody that's done that already. I'm just throwing it out there.
That is true.
Joe Dumars, he did it already.
But Steve Yzerman's a better Red Wing than Joe Dumars was a Piston. That was Isaiah Thomas's team.
I don't know about that.
Really?
Well, Yzerman was a better wing than I think Dumars was a Piston. I got to say that. At least
Joe Dumars like league MVP, like defensive MVP. Like Joe was cold.
I know.
Like Yzerman wasn't even the best Red Wing on the team.
But you know what? That was a very, very loaded roster. You had you had Sergei Fedorov.
Sam, you got a good topic there.
Like Joe D has made top 75 players all the time. Don't disrespect Joe D.
No disrespect.
I am not disrespecting Joe Dumars
by
any means.
McNeese State.
But remember, before the Red Wings were winning cups, Steve Yzerman was putting up astronomical numbers. He was the 3rd best player in the NHL. And to be fair,
Braylon, you got me with that.
To be fair, Braylon, Joe Dumars has actually brought the Pistons a championship as a GM. Steve Yzerman, we think that he will. At least so far, what he's shown, the Yzer plan is right on track. And if they make the playoffs this year,
to your point, man, they win a cup like 100%. I mean, it's already Yzerman anyway. I was just providing some fun talk.
One of the best road teams in the league are the New York Rangers. I just want to bring that up. They're on a 1-game losing streak, but they won 17 games on the road. 17-5-5, I think.
Rangers are tough.
So they're going to be a tough out tonight.
It's definitely going to be a tough out, which is why, and I think I agree with you, Maz, if they can get, if the Red Wings can get 3 points in the next 2 games, we should all be doing backflips. They got to at least get 2. The last thing you want to do is get 0 and get blown out by 2 of the best teams in the East, but I don't think that's going to happen. We're going to get to the last segment. We're going to talk about
you forgot Michigan-Rutgers tonight.
I didn't forget about Michigan-Rutgers because we're going to talk about it in the next segment, the final segment of the day. Ooh. And you know what? They probably should be, honestly, because Rutgers is at home, and Michigan has had a bit of a disappointing season.
What has Michigan done to deserve not to be the underdog?
This season, they do deserve to be the underdog. But first, I got to tell you about Les Stanford.
Tonight,
because Les Stanford has expanded into Ferndale, a trusted name for over 50 years. Les Stanford Buick GMC. Same great service that customers have come to know. Go check them out on Woodward, just south of 9 Mile. Of course, looking for a Chevy or a Cadillac? Les Stanford in Dearborn's got Silverado trucks in stock, ready to drive off. Find the brands you want at lesstanford.com. Lesstanford.com.
Find new roads. Find them.
Saturdays at 1 p.m. Make sure you're watching WoodwardSports.com for our new show, Chompin' Puck.
He shoots! He scores!
With 4-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty and Michael Gentry, Chompin' Puck is taking the Detroit hockey community and giving them a voice. Pros to Joes. You'll get the best Detroit hockey coverage around. Chompin' Puck. Saturdays 1 p.m. on WoodwardSports.com.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
At Alta, uptime matters. Alta Equipment has everything you need to get the job done. If you have a big project coming up, give Alta Rental a try today. They've got you covered. Call them at 844-GO-TO-ALTA. 844-GO, the number 2, Alta.
Uptime. Final segment of the day. This show has flown by like all the ones that I've done with you guys this week. This is Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. I am Flannel Sam filling in for Ryan Ermanni. This is Flannel Braylon, and this is Maz Edwards in the Maz seat. Of course, Tom Mazawey. We got JB Smooth in the sound booth and Fletch on the 1s and 2s. Michigan basketball. Ugh. And the Detroit Pistons are both playing tonight. But I want to focus on Michigan basketball first because Michigan basketball has put themselves in a position, in a bit of a hole, to where almost every game the rest of the year, I wouldn't say is must win, but you got to win at least a couple more.
You think?
Because this season has not turned out the way that us Michigan fans have expected. And they go on the road to play Rutgers, a team that in conference has the exact same record as Michigan and a better overall record. So Rutgers isn't someone you can sleep on. And Michigan has obviously been inconsistent, but they are coming off of a big win at home against Michigan State, a game in which 2 of their freshmen, Doug McDaniel and Terrace Reed Jr., really kind of came of age and played the best games of their career, in my opinion. Tom Mazawey, I know that you're actually betting Michigan to win tonight. You just did.
I just did.
Does Michigan, obviously I already know the answer to that. The fix is in.
Hey, look, they've sucked this year. And they really stunk against winning teams. I think they're 2-10 against teams with like real good teams, top 25 teams. But they were in most of those games, really down to the end. I'm not sure, is Jet playing tonight? Is Jet Howard playing, or is he injured? That's the one thing I'm not sure of. But they're getting 5.5 points tonight.
That means he's probably playing. His means he's probably not playing. If they're getting that many points.
Probably.
My biggest problem with that, Matt, is if we look at since Juwan Howard has been there, they always struggle, with the exception of 1 year where they were on a tear, and I think they were like 19-3 at one point, or 19-4, or whatever.
Maybe Elite 8.
Yeah. Well, just in terms of like their record before Big Ten tournament play started, they were really good that year. Outside of that, this is what they do. They limp into the Big Ten season. They struggle through the Big Ten season. Towards the end of the Big Ten season, they get a couple big wins, whether it's a Michigan State, whether it's Indiana, whether it's Ohio State. Then they play pretty good in the tournament. Then they get the 11th seed in the Final Four. And they've played well in the tournament, but they keep waiting for the tournament. They keep waiting for the Big Ten tournament. They keep waiting for the end of the regular season schedule. Like, I need to see them playing well early on in the season. I don't need to see these games where it's coming down to the wire and you're losing. They are in all these games, but that suggests coaching to me. That suggests something about the scouting report, something about it. Juwan Howard is not getting to the tip of the iceberg in terms of what they need and how they need to move forward and be successful, have some success, string along some wins, and not every time we look up, you're looking at L's. I'm watching Eastern at the beginning of the year and Imani Bates, and I'm wondering why Imani Bates is about to meet Michigan at LCA single-handedly. Like, something is going on up there in Ann Arbor, and I think there needs to be some answers. Like, Hunter Dickinson came back this year. That was the reason that gave us a sense of cushion as Michigan fans. Like, all right, Big Hunter's coming back this year. Like, at least we'll be in the tournament. Like, at least we'll be fighting for the 3-4 spot in our own conference. Hasn't been the case, and I think it's disappointing, if I'm being honest.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you guys.
Yeah.
I am telling you, they are going to win tonight.
But what does that mean moving forward, Matt, for the Michigan Wolverines?
Well, they got to sweep.
Yeah.
They got to sweep the rest of their of these games. They really do. To get back on the bubble, they've got to beat teams like Rutgers going forward. I just
Indiana,
feel
Rutgers.
I know
You're gonna have to.
Yeah,
beat Purdue.
they got to run it.
You're gonna have to, and that was one of the big wins they had last year. They beat Purdue when Purdue had just got knocked to the 2 seed. You're gonna have to get one of these wins.
I'm betting on Juwan Howard to get these guys ready. Hunter Dickinson to play out of his mind. I am betting that there's a good team in there somewhere. There is a good team somewhere there in Ann Arbor, and they're going to go down to Piscataway tonight, and they're going to beat Rutgers.
They are, and they have a lot of talent. That's the thing. Hunter Dickinson came back. He has regressed a bit, but he has by no means been bad this season. He's just been inconsistent. Jet Howard, I think he's been maybe even a little better at times than was advertised. He might be a first-round draft pick. He has struggled with shooting from time to time, but he's been good. freaking Kobe Buffkin. He's the guy that I've really liked this year. He took a big step, the step that he was expected to take, but probably even took that to the next stratosphere.
Yeah, Booner wrote us. He thinks Jet is out tonight. That's why, obviously, the spread is the way it is. But I'm going to still take him.
Well, the big thing with Hunter Dickinson, and this is not to cut you off my bad, Sam, this is the last thing I'll say for the show, is with the way college basketball is still played, college basketball is still one of the institutions that it still remains the same as it was in the 90s, the 2000s, the 70s, the 80s. Big man basketball run the sport. Still low scores, defense play, pass, shoot. There are some phenoms here and there, but for the most part, basketball is still the same sport. And by it being that way in college, Hunter Dickinson should be more dominant. The fact that college basketball is still the same. If college is like college football, where now the offense dominates things, you see wide receivers doing, like it's like the NFL. College basketball is not like that. It's still like it always was, and that's where Hunter Dickinson, his play has disappointed me.
I wanted Hunter Dickinson to do this year what Zach Edey has actually done. I know Zach Edey's 7'4", but Hunter Dickinson, there's a lot of teams that can't match him just because of his sheer size. And if you're telling me, Maz, you told me that Michigan has to sweep the rest of the season.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy.
If you're telling me that, and I'm also telling you that if Michigan doesn't make the tournament, it's a disaster of a year, what does that tell you? Because
it's already a disaster.
They are not sweeping. I think that they could be 3-1, but they have at Rutgers tonight, home versus Wisconsin, at Illinois, which will be tough, and at Indiana.
Yeah, it's tough.
It is tough. I think if they go 3-1 and have a good showing in the Big Ten tournament, that they will get in.
It's Michigan. They're not going to keep them out if they do decent. I agree with you. It's Michigan. They need them in there. But the fact that every year, here we are, we get to this point, and we're hoping for a quad 1 win. Right. We're hoping to string a couple quad 1 wins in a row. I'm just over that. I think Juwan Howard, for what his record has been in terms of the finale, I need that record to be like that a little more earlier in the year.
I'll tell you what, it's exactly what happened last year, where they pretty much limped into the NCAA tournament, made the Sweet 16, but they were a preseason, I believe, top 5 team, and that was the one time where I think a Michigan basketball team, made the Sweet 16, but you can also call it a bit of a disappointing year, especially the way Caleb Houston and Moussa Diabate played. I know.
Forgot about those.
I know, but at this point, that's what Michigan can hope for, them limping in, and they still have a chance, and it is 4 o'clock. Thank you all for joining us today. Tom Mazawey, JB, Fletch, Braylon Edwards, get us out of here.
It's 4 o'clock. We'll see you guys tomorrow. One more show to go. We love you guys.
Go Blue.
Go Blue.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.